Hello, it's been a long time. Can't get you off my tired mind. Shadow, let the tape rewind and finally ease my anxious eyes. Oh no, I feel you creeping in, my body bleeding sin. I'm drowning. Heaven.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I was muted. Haha, I'm great at streaming. I am so good at streaming. And what I was saying just now is apparently, look. This will explain everything. Apparently, this is going live now. I thought this was going to be at 6 p.m., 3 hours from now. Apparently, this is up now. So I'm kind of late. A good thing I looked at the schedule. I was like, is this happening in 15 minutes? I gotta scramble together. Let me get the fan up and running because otherwise it's gonna be hot in my room. But this is gonna be the deep dive for World of Warcraft specifically. Unless I got it wrong and this is for Classic. Let me just double check. Let me get the fan going first. Oh my goodness. Boys, how y'all doing though? Welcome back. Kind of hearing a short notice like this. I appreciate you guys for popping in. Now, did I just freak out for no reason? Because I swear to you, yesterday I looked at the schedule and it said 6 p.m. is the one that we're going to do a Warcraft deep dive. Yeah, this is World of Warcraft deep dive. It's happening right now. Are they doing another one later? No, that's the only one. It looked like it was at 6 p.m. for November 4th, but it's at 3. It's at 3. 3 hour difference. Good thing I looked. It's happening right now. Are you kidding me? Chat, I'm going to try to get the audio exactly as it was yesterday. Okay? Alrighty. Oh, this is just Blizzard stuff. Okay. They're starting soon. Oh, man. I was about to be late. How y'all doing, though? Welcome back. Hope everybody's having a good one. Hope everybody's been enjoying BLIZZCON so far. I've been having a fantastic time with it. I've been loving it. My favorite part so far was seeing my man, Chris Metzen, not only introduce the next 3 expansions, but knowing that he's involved where everybody, dude, every Classic Andy I know said that...
like to thank our partners.
Okay, we can mute it for the moment, yeah? We can mute it for a second while they're thinking they're partners, which is good, you know, let them get the thing done. But, dude, seriously, a lot of people that are Classic Andes, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but the people that are mostly like, they don't like retail, they'd rather play Classic, every one of them said, yo, Chris Metzen, involved with World of Warcraft, that is definitely gonna be for Classic Plus. Definitely. Look, he looked at what they've been doing to retail for years. There's no way he'll be involved with this. And to have that man come out and unveil the next 3 retail Modern WoW expansions. Oh, it's so good. You know, it just feels like maybe we're in the right track. You know what I mean? Maybe we're in the right track. Is this actual thing now, or are we... Oh, yeah, wait, this is...
We're starting the day off right. Here's the World of Warcraft Deep Dive.
Fantastic. Dude, I've been enjoying covering BlizzCon, by the way. This has been a lot of fun. There it is, boys. Hey, my man Ian, how are you doing?
Good afternoon.
I miss this guy. What sword shirt? Oh, that is so good.
I love
this sash. Thank you so much, Fred.
Whether you're watching from elsewhere in the halls, whether you're joining us from the comfort of your home, thank you
oh
for
my
taking the
God.
time to join me for this deeper, closer look at
Chat, let me know if it needs to be
next
louder.
in the war
I
within.
can make it louder if you needed to. Out of the Rock Dwarves on Earth Miracle. Dude, I'm okay with Rocky Dwarves.
I love you, BlizzCon.
But it's an allied race, so I imagine they could add more of them later.
Morgan and Maria gave you kind
I'd
of
be
a
very
sneak
excited to
peek
see
at
them.
some
I
of
need
what's
this shirt.
coming.
It is
Today,
so
we'll spend
good,
a
dude.
bit
What
more
sword?
time giving you more
What
information
sword?
on the core features of
It's
War
so
Within,
good.
as well as a few things.
Hoping to
that
talk
didn't
about
get
hero.
mentioned at
Yeah,
all
so they had
yesterday.
delves, warbands, hero talents, earthen allied race, and
Beginning
more. I'm hoping there'll be more
Cool
allied
teaser there.
races in this expansion, kind of
So,
like it was
to
in
begin,
BFA.
let's talk
Delves.
delves.
A bit louder?
So,
Okay, I can make it a
what
little
is a
louder.
delve? As you heard yesterday,
Just a tiny
delves
bit,
are
25.
these quick bite-sized epic adventures for flexible-sized groups.
Tell me if it needs to be
either
louder.
solo or with up to 5 players. They are role agnostic, so it doesn't matter if you're a couple DPS, if you're a healer and a tank, if you're a
It's
solo
Eon,
healer.
yeah.
We're going to make it work. We're going to meet you where you are, how you want to play. Delves are a new endgame pillar. This is a permanent addition to World of Warcraft going forward and represents kind of a capstone to the outdoor world experience. We've had dungeons, we've had raids, we've had
So,
organized
what's up, Jake?
PvP, and I think
Talk about
we've,
delves.
had some stuff
Jake, let me
for
know if it needs
outdoor
to be
world
louder.
players to dabble in. But if you
'Cause
wanted
I think Ian is just
progression, if you wanted
soft-spoken.
goals, if you wanted a deeper, more structured experience,
So,
frankly, we were letting you down. We want to change that. That's what delves represent in World of Warcraft.
so open world endgame content for like players that like solo stuff or just don't really enjoy group stuff. You can do it in group
So
or
structuring
solo.
this, really we want to approach it as something
cool.
that you are going to be engaging in all season long
Awesome,
with
thank you.
variety and flexibility in how you approach it, and the replayability of the content is kind of a mainstay of what it's all about. But also want to build in progression.
work, they should add
And I
them
think
into
if you're an
leveling
outdoor
content.
world-focused player, a
It's
lot
supposed to
of
be
the time,
end game,
It's just about
but
kind of
open
spending
world
your
stuff.
time doing a thing,
Think of like
going to a
World
place,
Quest, but
completing an
like
event,
more
But
meaningful.
there aren't necessarily
You know?
goals to work towards. There aren't necessarily
I'm not against that
reasons
if they were
be
to add
excited
delves
about
as like
getting an
part of
item
like
upgrade,
leveling
because it's going to let you
content
do
and stuff.
something you haven't been able to do before.
You know, kind of like instead of queuing for a
difficulty
dungeon, you do like a
progression
delve
built
in,
into delves is going to enable us to offer that.
I don't know,
Now,
Mountains
there's a
of
lot of lessons we
Cosmodon
learned
or something,
over the
you know?
years from building this type of content.
what's up,
whether it
Russ?
was Torghast and Shadowlands, Island
Torghast
Expeditions,
Island scenarios. So it's kind of like
scenarios,
wrapping all these
horrific
things
visions
together.
in that list.
Don't think of Torghast
We've
with
learned a
powers.
lot
This
about
isn't
how
a
to
bar
tune
power
these sorts
thing.
of
Just think of like
experiences, how to
Torghast,
design
like the
them
progression
for
procedural,
flexible
but like
scaling
everything
groups,
bad,
different
remove that out
sizes,
of your
different
mind.
role
I know people
compositions,
jump on like
about,
people's
you know,
throats
what's
whenever
fun
you
and
hear
what isn't.
Torghast, but
we've
think of like
also
the good
learned,
parts of
based on your
Torghast.
feedback,
Find
about
whatever's good in
what not to
Torghast,
do
think of
in some
that.
cases, in terms
Take
of
everything
how
bad
we
and
structure
put it in a
how
trash
we
can.
present it. I think a
What's up,
key
Decky?
aspect of saying this is an endgame pillar is that it's an offering in parallel to the others, to dungeons, to raids. If you want to do this, if this is your jam, if this is your type of gameplay, we're there for you.
It's supposed to be open
and we
world,
want
yeah.
this to be
It's
as deep
supposed
as
to be.
you want it to be.
It's supposed to be
If
open
you're
world
happy
stuff.
running Mythic Plus and you just want to
Like something you're
focus on
supposed to
that,
be able to
we're
do
not
solo
looking
or
to
with
add
groups,
another item to
if
the
you wanted
checklist
to.
of things you feel you have to do to compete. It's an alternative. Unlike Torghast, which is something that, you know, we did kind of say, everyone has to do this, whether you like it or not, whether you'd
Like
rather do something
Torghast.
else or not. That gets back to some of the philosophies that Morgan touched on yesterday and how we're approaching
What's up, G?
designing and evolving.
But
World
we'll
of
have a
Warcraft.
good loot in
We
it.
wanna meet
They
you
said
where
it
you
won't
are.
have
We wanna respect
mythic
your time.
quality
We wanna
gear,
offer you the ability to choose
but it might be
how
like
you want to
heroic
spend
at the
that
very
time
minimum.
Each day,
I'm
each
sure he'll
night
talk
in
about it.
Azeroth.
Yes, you're supposed to be able to like if you want to focus on your endgame to be Mythic Plus, it needs to be in parallel to like all those endgame
So
pillars.
in terms of the
It won't have
character
Mythic
of
raid
Delves and
gear,
what a
but like
specific one will be like.
Mythic Plus doesn't have
the
Mythic
vibe
raid
here
gear either.
is
None of that
about
does
unraveling
PvP.
mysteries, it's
Right,
about
that's like the
exploring,
highest item
it's
level.
about
But
feeling
it'll
like an
be in
extension, a
parallel to the
seamless
others.
extension of
As
the
he
outdoor world
said,
experience.
or as
These are
Morgan
not
said the other
dungeons.
day.
Every
I
dungeon
really hate him plus.
is
It's
ultimately
supposed to be an
about
alternative,
killing a
right?
series of
It's
bosses
the idea is to
or
make an
boss-like
alternative way
encounters, and
if
the
that is your
dungeon's
vibe,
over
if that is a
when you
jam.
kill the final baddest boss at the end of the dungeon. And that's kind of the structure that they all have to conform
It's allowed,
to.
I think, come on finishing the stream,
try
like, no
to
comments
vary the
during
formula
one
a
piece.
bit, that's pretty much what
Maybe.
they're going to be. In the outdoor world, things are a bit different. We can, you know, break some more of the rules. And really, at the end of the day, the one consistent thing about delves is that they're all going to end with a room full of treasure. Some of those will have a final boss guardian in front of them. Others, you may be, you know, just exploring, traversing the delve, flipping switches, solving a puzzle, defeating lieutenants, gathering things that you need
That's
to
what you
open
mean,
the
sword.
vault door. We can vary the gameplay, we can vary the feel of the experience. These are going to be instanced experiences, but they are seamless. When you walk up to, you know, this, as I'll show in a second, a fog door at the entrance to a cave, at the entrance to a structure, you're just going to walk
Not
in,
yet,
no loading
Jonathan.
screen,
Just talk about
and now
delves
you're in a delve.
for now. That's gonna
We want
be
to make
later.
sure this really feels like part of and an extension of the outdoor world.
Cool. So one of the things that Morgan said the other day is like sometimes you'll fight a boss at the end, sometimes there'll be a puzzle to solve at the very
Now,
end.
as part of an in-game pillar, that means we want to tie
But it's
this
gonna be
into, we're going to
diverse.
tie this into seasons. So as well as a narrative progression over the course of a given season, there will be increasing rewards, increasing difficulty, and a change of pace, whether you're in season 1 of War Within, season 2, and so forth.
Seasonal.
Part of that is going to be
It's going to be seasonal.
NPC companion that will be accompanying you on your adventures.
With seasonal rewards.
The season 1 companion, as we mentioned yesterday, is our good friend Bran
Bronzebeard.
Bronzebeard. Now, what
We'll
does this
see.
mean?
It's like
What
an
does a
hour
companion
30,
mean in practice? Well, it's a few things. One, it's
discussion
definitely
thing.
a narrative hook. It gives us a chance to help give context for your
Hey,
adventures.
Jay.
kinda
Yo,
narrate
alert
what
is
you're
going to be
going
loud
through.
real quick, by the way. It's going to
But
be loud.
also,
Let your
it's
voice
a
know.
chance to
Appreciate you, my guy.
play with the mechanics and
Yeah,
complement your playstyle. As
shining
Bran
light.
ventures
Wow,
with
looking
you,
so good right now.
you might
I
find
know
some
AJ.
gear
Can we get a
for
hashtag
Bran.
AJ boys?
You might be able to gear Bran
Appreciate
up.
you, my
You'll be
guy.
able to spec him
Sorry,
and
now that
customize
Ed
his
said something,
abilities
I'm being
to
quiet.
complement what you
I'm
or your
trying not
friends
to,
are
like,
bringing to the
talk
group,
over him.
whether you want more survivability, whether you want help with someone.
Ed, you're making me self-conscious.
Control. This can help us balance the experience as well and give you another vector for your progression over the course of the journey. Now, I know this has kind of been very
Possibly
high level.
Felipe.
I want to just give a couple of specific examples, just kind of a
We'll see.
day in the life of someone
Okay.
jumping into delves in War
What's a
Within.
run going to look like?
So
All
let's
right.
say you are casually journeying across the Isle of Dorne
Mm-hmm.
and its pastoral beauty, and you come across this structure with that fog door set into it, and you decide to venture in.
Mm-hmm.
So as you venture in, you are, as I mentioned, seamlessly in the delve, and you will find, just huddled inside the entrance, a group of expedition scouts who have come to this place. They've heard reports of great secrets, great treasures, powerful relics stored within, but they've been unable to proceed further because they tell you, and Bran is among them, mind you, they tell you this place, there's an unnatural, there's a disturbing darkness that has settled over this entire vault, and we can't proceed. Fortunately, they have in their possession a relic
That's my JJ
that they have
appreciation, my
brought
man.
that is an enchanted
alerts.
candle that can light the way.
I'm even
has
being
a
quiet.
little light radius around it. If you think back
self-conscious
to
now.
the Vault of the Warden's dungeon, if you remember that in Legion, what the basement was like, where it really felt like just like a dark, scary place, but you could have this beacon in the darkness to guide your way. You have one of those.
Like a light mechanic.
But, they tell you, it has very limited fuel. They dare not proceed on their own
Mm-hmm.
because they worry they're just going to get trapped in the darkness and destroyed by the terrors within.
Mm-hmm.
But you, of course, being the champion who's come along, you're up to the task. So you take that candle with its light radius that will begin to shrink progressively as your limited fuel burns.
Yeah, Jake, seeing like
And you
same
take some
factions
steps
come
into
back
the
again,
delve.
it's kind of nice.
Now, who do you find in here? Well, as it happens, you run across fellows like this guy. More jacked than your average.
Holy
kobold,
motherfucking
but
shit!
there's a
I
lot
was
of
so
kobolds
late.
in here.
My king,
And
my
as
Mona
you know,
Lisa,
as
my
any World of
16th
Warcraft
I can't
chapel,
mute
my
this
6th
chat.
symphony, my
Find
iPhone
candles.
15 Pro Max
I
XL,
can't mute this
my
chat.
shining light in an
But
otherwise bleak
being World of
world.
Warcraft and all, you're
WoW
going
is
to take
looking
the
so good, RN.
And you're going to
He's
take the
describing a
candles
kobold.
of his
Like,
ally in
you
his
missed
book.
much.
And,
Thank you so
that
much,
will
AJ.
help fuel this magic light
Yeah.
that you have, help keep the light burning so that you can traverse
So
the
loud.
entire delve, defeat a couple of lieutenant-type enemies, bosses,
Okay.
solve a puzzle or
I'm
two.
hoping that
and
not all the
then
delves have
you
this
make
light
your way
mechanic.
Into the vault
Like,
room that Brad is able
hopefully
to
they're
open
diverse.
Once you bring him there, and you find this mock-up work in progress of a treasure room, heaping with riches, treasure chests of various shapes and sizes.
Yeah.
Some of the smaller
up,
ones,
Alex?
you can just walk up and open, collect a range of items, currency, rewards,
Talk about
you
delves
name
now.
it. But you'll find a couple of extra large, resplendent chests in this room. Those may require special keys to open. Now, those keys you would obtain from doing kind of outdoor content, weekly quests. They're a
Okay.
bit more limited in how you can get them, but also allow us to offer and pace out the best rewards. They're on par with some other endgame content to make sure it's not, infinitely grindable or anything like that, but it's
Okay.
an extension of your outdoor world loop if this is your playstyle. Now, let's say you come back to the same delve on another day. You might find that there isn't a magical darkness settled over the place. Instead, there are earthen locked in battle with kobolds, and you can help turn the tide of that fight as you work your way through, dealing with some different challenges along the way. Variety, replayability, lots of layers to the experience.
Okay. So like Torghast.
Now, so you venture back
Or
out
islands.
into the zone, heading off to a different corner of it, and you come across this cave surrounded by mushrooms. It's known in Legends as Fungal Folly. Now, maybe not being the wisest adventurer, that sounds like a great place to enter, so you take a few steps forward. In here, you might find an environment where, whether it's due to unusual ores or whatever in the walls, the rules of gravity are a bit topsy-turvy. And you'll find mushrooms scattered around the cave that you can use as basically jump pads to help navigate the environment, to skip over enemies you want to avoid, to reach high up ledges that you couldn't otherwise get to. You're starting to get the idea, like, this is more the world as toy vibe that we try to play with when we're creating outdoor events, outdoor spaces. These are not mechanics you necessarily find in a dungeon, but I think the team really is unshackled, is freed to explore a much wider array of gameplay when we're building delves. So let's talk a bit more about the loot. So actually, before we talk about the loot, these are the 12 delves that we currently have planned.
Okay. So there's like some are going to be combat based. This said yesterday some are going to be puzzle based.
Now, some
exploration.
of the attentive among you may be saying, "Wait a minute."
Different kind of gameplay.
Morgan's slide said there were 13 delves yesterday. He might be right, but there also might be a secret delve that you have to explore a bit more to discover.
Well, the Mario
awaits you.
for some of them. I mean,
yeah, loot.
A variety of gameplay, but like, if let's say if you're a casual player,
means going to the Great Vault every week and
World.
getting to share in that.
Wait, where's PvP? Wait, where's PvP? Wait, where's PvP? Wait, where's PvP?
Just want to make sure you don't.
Where's PvP?
So you're welcome.
Where's PvP?
This isn't a delves row. This is a world row. And really, that is enshrining these 3 PvE pillars: raids, dungeons, world.
Okay.
You'll be able to unlock some of these slots doing select outdoor world activities.
How good is the gear, though? They've deleted PvP
from higher difficulty delves. Our thinking in terms of the rewards here, this is all subject to tuning, is that this should reach to, let's say, end boss.
I gotta hit up Lika. I want to see what he says.
Range, accessible just via solo progression. Far better loot than you've ever been able to get before.
Okay, good. What kind of gear though? What item level? Like, how good is it? Far better loot, sure, but like, how good is it though?
And now, I'm sure this is, I know this is the delve section, but I'm sure there's folks looking at this and being like, wait a minute, what about the PvP row?
Yes! Yes!
Don't worry, we got you. We are removing the PvP row from the vault. We're doing that based largely on feedback that we've heard that randomness and PvP gearing maybe are not the best combination.
Okay.
I know it took a few years to get that message through.
All right. Yeah, a couple expansions maybe, you know.
The way this is going to work is instead, you're going to get a whole lot more conquest.
Okay.
You're going to gear up at the same rate overall.
Okay.
But you will have complete control over your gearing
Sure.
path. Just spending your conquest on the items that you want.
That's fine.
With easier catch-up if you come in late in the season, you don't have to worry about having missed certain vault weeks. Also, if you're someone who PvPs a lot and you raid, you don't have the awkward choice of that raid trinket versus the PvP item that's going to help your arena partners.
Okay, so just more gear. That's good. I'm okay with this. I'm actually really okay with this. Yeah, because there was always a weird decision of just like, don't take a PvP item, dungeon item.
Good news for everyone. Now, aside from, just power, also you get silly hats.
Nice.
Nothing more to say here. These just
candles, mushrooms, like a fish thing, bone skeleton, or anglerfish.
These are just a few examples of the array of cosmetic rewards that will be exclusive to delves.
Neat. What's up, Iron? How you doing, my man?
Varied ecologies.
Talking about delves.
You're going to be facing.
They haven't talked about the other stuff yet.
Silly hats. World of Warcraft.
Open world activities.
Less silly.
Mounts. They also did say you can get mounts. Wait. You get a customizable airship mount? No way. Arthur's my man.
Will be exclusively available through thorough completion of the delve experience.
Milestones? I had no idea there was a thing with this.
We got
so loud, chat. It's so loud. I'm so sorry. I am sorry. It is loud. I can't make it quieter.
Are you kidding me?
My alerts are damn loud. I can't control it. I can't control it. But basically, you get to do open world stuff and you get to get a ship, customize it. That's the most important part.
Okay.
Warbands.
Up next.
This is the
Warbands.
old friendly thing. This is the old friendly thing where characters can share literally everything. Doing good, you? I had no idea that we were going to do a panel at 3. So it was like 10 minutes into the thing.
Kind of that.
I had 10 minutes to prepare.
So,
not a lot of time.
I don't know if you guys know this, but it turns out y'all play a lot of alts.
Yes, what do you mean?
I'm sure that actually the number of characters per person in this room in particular is like some insane average.
I have
But
one
the
of
average
every
WoW
class.
player today plays multiple characters. The two-thirds of players who have a level 70 have multiple level 70s. Half of players
What's up,
have
RS?
3 or more. Most people are playing multiple
Yeah,
characters
excited.
a week.
So they did Dells,
And
talking
that's
about
not
warbands.
something the game, it's no secret, has always done
Easier
the best job
PvP
of
mods?
supporting.
Yeah, that's true.
Part of that is because World of Warcraft 20 years ago was built with very different assumptions. And I both mean design.
Understandable, because it took forever to level a character back in vanilla.
The architecture that was built. Back then, it took hundreds of hours to level a single character, of course, and playing alt seriously was far
Turn on the
from
volume of the
norm.
guy. Okay, I can make
But
it a
we've
little
kind of
louder.
Inherited. We're still working
This is better.
We have been working with
He's
those
soft-spoken.
foundations to this day.
Tell me
And
if it needs to go
when we
louder.
get requests for and when we talk about alt friendliness, we aim
gee.
to try to do it.
Say
but we're
too
often
loud. Oh,
working
no.
Against,
Chat,
we're
it's gonna play an
swimming
alert.
upstream, given the underpinnings of a
I
system
can't mute it.
that were
I can't
never
quiet it.
designed for
I
this.
can't skip 'em.
And that's
Or
why
can
you
I?
get some frankly pretty clunky solutions. Like
Maybe I can.
if you
Hold
want
on.
to transfer this
It
currency
might
to your
not
alt,
play.
go to a vendor and spend some to buy a different
might be
box
quiet.
that contains account-bound currency that you can then mail to yourself, log out, log back in, take the box out of your mailbox, and open it on your alt. Congratulations, you have moved 300 supplies.
I went through PTSD just now. of him
Elegant
explaining
design,
that.
ladies and gentlemen.
Elegant design. Give you
What if we
Shadowlands
didn't have to do that?
PTSD.
So at its core, warbands is, what if we just rebuilt those foundations and
Can we get a hashtag G,
created
by the
a
way?
new
Thanks so much,
future,
G. I appreciate
both,
you, my man.
for the things we want to offer
Thank you,
today,
thank you, thank
and the
you.
things we'll be able to
I don't
in
know
the
if the
future.
alert is
So we're
gonna
not
be loud or
fighting
not.
against the nature of the system, but instead it complements what we want to do. Now, the focus here is really making it convenient, removing barriers, removing awkwardness in playing alts. We don't want to actively necessarily encourage it. People already want to do it if they do it.
Yeah.
One thing the system is not going to be is something that awards you power or makes your main more effective because you have done things on other characters
Fair.
or anything along
Yeah, I
those
just want to be able
lines.
to like get
If you
mogs on
wanna
my
play
main
alts,
and
do so.
my alts
If
can
you
use
just
it.
love focusing on a single character, that shouldn't feel wrong either. Now let's talk about some examples.
Okay, so what can you like? You said gold before, right? Bank slots. Wait, that looks
So,
big.
I'm going to run through these pretty quickly. They're mostly fairly straightforward. It's a bank. It's an account-wide bank. Thankfully,
No more bags.
hopefully, you should never again have to mail something to yourself.
Is that enough
You
slots?
also might notice, and so there's this
there's multiple,
giant, lots of
like-
storage, extra tabs that can be purchased on the right-hand side. So
Okay.
multiple tabs of these. You can organize them as you want. The very observant, the eagle-eyed, will notice a little checkbox mentioning reagents. If you deposit reagents here, you can craft from the account-wide storage on any of your characters.
How's it going? What's up, Mike? What's quiet? Thank you so much. Yeah, G, I appreciate you, my guy. Can we get a hashtag G? I appreciate you. It was quiet. It didn't
Next
play an
up,
alert.
Maybe a
I
little
didn't
new
know I
thing.
can mute 'em.
Something that you might put in this account-wide storage are the ability we will now have to create war-bound items that are war-bound until equipped.
Interesting.
Get an item that you can't sell in the auction house or trade, but that you can give to any of your other characters for their
You can
use.
get war bounds on your main and give them to your alts. That is awesome. I like this a lot. Not soul bound, war bound.
These items would drop
Hell
as
yeah.
bonus personal loot from doing a variety of content.
Okay.
It would drop at a slightly lower item level than what that content would normally
Sure,
give you.
sure.
Again,
That's
we wanna
sick.
make sure
It's
the
great
right
for
way to
gearing
play
alts.
is not, playing
Yeah.
on multiple
That's
characters to
goated.
funnel loot to your main to gear up your main faster. But just easy potential hand-me-downs.
So, like, let's say you're doing
ways of getting an alt caught up.
Mythic Plus
maybe
on your
even an
main, I
excuse to
imagine.
level an alt if
Sometimes you get a
really cool
warbound,
item
send it to an
for a
alt.
class that you haven't had a chance to get up yet. So just an extra layer here, hopefully, making it easier than ever to progress, to accomplish your goals on multiple characters.
And it says he said it's bonus gear, so it won't like
All right, now,
replace your
quick
proper
rundown of
drops.
some of the other integrations we have planned.
Okay.
Transmog. Transmog has always been, it's been for a
Alcoholic?
long
Dude,
time. an
I have
account-wide
one of every
collection.
class.
Key
I
thing
feel
here
ya.
now that really it is being acquired by your warband.
PvP Great
that
Vault.
means that
They
now if
said
you
that
were
they
running,
won't have
say,
PvP as part of the
Ulduar
Great
on your
Vault.
mage and a pair
You'll
of
just give
plate
you more
shoulders
conquest.
dropped, you can
To
still
remove
add
the
those plate
RNG.
shoulders
You'll
to
still
your
you just
warband
get
collection.
more conquest every single week. And I was just talking, I was middle talking, but he said basically if your main
Self-explanatory.
gets an
And
item
then,
that
if
they
you
can't
log on your
use, it'll
warrior
still
later,
go in your
warrior
collection.
Can equip them, you're good to
So
go.
like if you're running a rogue
Hopefully
or
you don't
raid,
need to feel
get a
like
bunch
you
of
need to
plates and
refarm the same stuff on as many
mail,
different
cloth
archetypes
pieces,
anymore.
you'll still add them to your collection even if your main can't wear them.
Again, fairly straightforward.
for
In
somebody's,
War
yeah.
Within, reputations and renowns will work account-wide. We want
Warbound
to
rep,
make this
good.
as retroactive as possible. That
So
will take
renown-
some work over time. We're probably going to start with
Not all your
Dragonflight
characters share.
renowns as a focus and a priority and work our way backwards. But going forward, We want progress earned on reputations to not really matter which character you're doing it on. At the end of the day, it's the same content, it's the
Gold,
same experience.
yes, I believe
if you've gained access to some
Morgan
perk
Day
or
said
some
yesterday
recipe,
that gold would be
having to
shared
re-earn it, not
among
terribly
characters
compelling.
in a war band. Among characters in a war band. Flight paths.
Here's a
Okay.
really light example, simple one, just flight paths. As you explore the world, you learn flight paths, you discover flight paths. Is it terribly compelling to have to go back to a spot that you've already
That's a good
been
one,
to
actually.
multiple
That's
characters just to learn
underrated.
a flight path for the 4th time? No. If you have a flight path network unlocked, you have that unlocked across your warband.
Let me know if he needs to be louder. He's very soft-spoken.
And here's an example of something new, just delves. An example of how having this as a foundation means that we can build new systems to
Delves?
inherently work at an account-wide level, just kind of as part of their DNA. As you are advancing Bran as a companion, as you are empowering him, as you're customizing him, again, logging on to a different character and going back to having a weaker Bran that doesn't offer the tools that you've grown accustomed to, that's more frustrating than fun to re-earn those things.
Okay.
Let's make that progression inherently warband level, inherently account-wide.
Your Delve NPC, you'll be able to upgrade them, talent them, and stuff. Basically, as you progress that character on your main, you're also
And
supposed to get all the
achievements.
progress
We've
to
had account-wide
have a
achievements
stronger
for a
NPC.
long time. No secret, they have the
Seems,
little
yeah.
blue bar over them, indicating that they function at an account-wide level. What warbands allows us to do is kind of invert that paradigm and change the vast majority of our achievements to be account-wide, to have that actually be the new default. So if you do part of this PvP or crafting or other achievement on one character, part of it on another,
So like
your
shared
warband can earn
progress.
the achievement. Once your warband earns it, you've earned it.
Okay, that's
Again,
actually
you, the
really
player,
cool.
are doing the thing.
That's actually really cool. I like that a lot. Because I thought already, like, achievements already account wide, but like progress is going to be account wide.
Oh yeah, and then this.
Oh, that's the new character screen. A lot of people mentioned it. This is the new character screen. This looks so good. Look, characters just kind of hanging out by a fire, chilling. You can see all of
kind
the
of
tunes.
Signal this shift up front. There's no like
And you can see people in your
mechanical
camp in a war
functionality
band.
here, but just in terms of presentation, what
That's
you'll see
cool.
when you log into World of Warcraft with multiple characters.
Also, level 13
is
Evoker wearing
a selection
leather
of your favorite
shoulders.
characters huddled around a campfire or another setting.
Not an
This will
Evoker.
have your full list accessible, but we want to make
Also
it
the
clear
Druid.
that like you, the player, have this cast of characters that if you want to.
I hope you can
dress
change
them
the
all up in
backgrounds,
consistent
too.
Transmogs, go wild.
Hell
One
yeah.
thing you might note here, if you're very eagle-eyed, also by the way, if you're very eagle-eyed, don't read too much into things like the evoker wearing leather. That's just, it's internal mock-ups. We're not changing anything crazy.
Okay.
Sorry. But you will note that the evoker is level 13. That's going to be a thing that's possible because they'll start at level 10. But because Dragonflight's going to be the new leveling expansion, by the way, going forward.
Okay.
One thing you might notice is there isn't really much here about realm selection. Warbands are a realm-agnostic, faction-agnostic feature. You will
Okay.
just see all your characters here. If they're on different servers, we'll make it clear that they're on different servers.
Cross
but you
server.
shouldn't have to like go to the change
That's really
realm
good.
screen and swap around. They're just
That's
all
actually
here.
really good. That's actually very, very good. Very convenient. So if you play on multiple servers, you can just have all your characters there.
Okay. Hero talents.
Yes! Let's go.
So, at their core, this is a chance
Your
for
collection
us,
is gonna show up in the
as we
characters
continue
look
to
sick.
evolve
Yeah.
and advance our
Oh, yeah.
class system, to explore some deeper class fantasies, to look at iconic archetypes
Yeah,
like
exactly,
the Farseer,
exactly,
the Dark
Farseer.
Ranger, the Mountain King, or others, often inspired by major heroes in the Warcraft universe, other times by fantasies that we've heard are really resonant with players, and focus the continued expansion of our classes in that space.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Morgan said this yesterday, just to restate, this is a completely flexible system. It's as flexible as your current talents and specs.
Yep.
Nothing like covenants or anything like that.
You'll be able to
Anytime
switch
you can
them as
change
much
your
as you want
talents
to.
Today, you can change your
Data
hero
Major
spec.
Riot. I do
you
want to
can
see what they
swap
give
around
for
your hero
mages
talents.
and rogues and
They're
hunters.
just
And
talents.
hunters, we know Dark Ranger is going to be a thing.
Now,
But-
some of our goals here, of course, we want to offer progression.
I wanna see
but
some
we wanna
more and
do
how they
so,
function.
Frankly, while managing complexity to a certain extent. When we started planning for War Within, we knew, all right, we're going to raise the level cap by 10. 10 new levels means 10 new talent points. The kind of default option for us would have been to take the existing class and spec trees and just add a couple more rows to each of them,
Yeah.
add new points to spend. But we've been down that path before. We know exactly where that leads 15 years
TBC,
ago. There's
Wrath,
a
Kata.
tremendous amount, there's an insane amount of like multiplicative combinatoric complexity from adding those additional options. And it also destroys some carefully constructed choices that are really successful.
Medic
that
like
we've
Hunter?
just built up in
We'll see.
Dragonflight today, where you can't
There's
quite
supposed to be
have
like
all
2
of these
per
things
spec.
and need to pick one or the other. suddenly when you can get all of them, it can lead towards homogeneity as well.
Okay.
So this approach allows us to both explore deeper class fantasy while focusing the decision space in a way that offers power without that excessive complexity. So the way it's generally going to look is a third talent tree. Again, as mentioned yesterday, at the center of your screen, you have class, you have talent, and in the middle, you have hero talents. You'll note, so there are 10 nodes. There's an initial node that you get as a starter node at the top that you'll get initially when you unlock the system at 71, and then 10 more nodes to unlock. You will get all of them on the way to 80. At level 80,
kind of like
you'll
artifact
have
weapons.
this
You just
fully
unlock
unlocked,
everything.
similar to Legion artifacts, let's say. So you don't have to agonize over.
I might as well stop talking because he's just doing a better job of it than me.
Now, the choices that you will make are which hero spec do you want active, and also there will be choice nodes within the trees, just as the class trees and the talent and the spec trees currently have, which you can toggle, adding quite a few permutations to the system as a whole. If you want, as a kind of simpler collapsed view, once you've hit max level, you can just condense it down to only show the choice nodes for easy swapping back and forth to customize your spec for whatever activity you're setting out to do. Now, I want to take a little bit of time to quickly walk through a couple of trees to give a sense of the sorts of things you might find in here. Again, all of this is subject
That's what I wanted to
change,
see. Some of the actual
all subject
talents.
to iteration and the extensive feedback we know we're going to get.
Yeah.
I'm going to use druids a lot as an example here. Going to focus on the case of a
I hope he
balanced
shows
druid.
more than just druids.
Part of why the team starts with druids is because y'all are complicated. We figure there's 4 specs, 3 roles. We figure let's try some of the hardest cases first when proving out a design. It's nothing against the mages, warlocks, paladins, etc. But there's a reason why you probably tend to see more druid examples than other classes, because we figure if we can make it work for druids, the rest will be okay. The 2 options available to a balanced druid are this Keeper of the Grove tree and Elun's Chosen. Keeper of the Grove is available to balance and restoration. Elun's Chosen is available to balance and guardian. The former focuses on calling the forest to your aid, on summon treants, and augmenting their abilities and what using that cooldown means for your gameplay. Elun's Chosen focuses on augmenting your lunar abilities, many of the arcane damage, moon-themed abilities for both specs. So let's look at the Keeper of the Grove tree first. The first node that you're going to get as you just opt in is just kind of a baseline improvement to your throughput while treants are out across the board. This just kind of emphasizes thematically what this tree is about and makes pushing that button, having the treants out, more important to you in every regard.
Okay, so it makes you want to spec into
Some of the
that.
nodes in these trees are just going to be simple.
Transcast
straightforward passives.
Moonfire?
Not everything is going to double and triple down on the same
Okay.
treant ability. Some will, like
Max
this.
Astral Power is pretty
regardless of
good.
what spec you are,
I like the
make your
Moonfire.
treants add additional damage. Oh, by the way, if anyone's worried, wait a minute, but what about the auto taunt? That's a mess in dungeons. We'll let you opt out of that. Don't worry. Or passives could just augment your abilities, your resource pool, and just make you a better druid. An example of the choice node, again,
Generate
this
astral
can be
power of
about
2 seconds.
doubling down on and getting
Charge
more
damage
out of
increase.
having the treants active. Or maybe you really don't want all of your eggs in that basket, even though you are going into this tree.
So you can go into more tree and heavy playstyle, or like more
you don't
into
want,
passive.
100% of your throughput.
Makes
to
you want to
focus
talent
in
into
that
it, but
window.
like
you'd rather
how
just
much you
have some
commit, it's up
baseline
to you.
improvements to all of your abilities, or to some of your core abilities.
That could be interesting.
This is one of the simpler choices available, but the idea is 4 different
So like a
opportunities
pet
to nudge your
build
gameplay in one direction
for
or
Boomkin and
another
Resto.
within this tree. A capstone talent, again, is often likely to double down on and amplify what the initial point was, just reinforcing that having the treants out is going to be a peak, a spike in your potential, something that you're going to plan around, and just amplify the overall benefits that you're achieving.
That's kind of
from
interesting.
that. Now, pivoting to Elun's Chosen, again, this is lunar themed and
Bypass,
shared
yeah.
with Guardian Druids. So the first point here is going to call out 3 specific
Fury,
signature
Full Moon,
abilities
Lunar Beam.
to balance one Guardian and make them meaningfully more impactful to your gameplay.
So it makes you want to
For your
talent into
Guardian
those
Druid, for
things.
example, you might read this and
Crescent
realize that
Moons.
like Lunar Beam is going to become a pretty powerful defensive cooldown, especially in dungeons.
Leech
You have a big
equal to
pull
10%
going
of all
on.
damage dealt.
You're leeching a lot of damage back from
I mean,
what
that's
you're
pretty good.
doing. This is now something that you can really count on and plan around as you approach your gameplay.
Yeah,
On the
it
Moonkin
was
side,
good.
this of course adds an extra layer to planning
Fury and Full
you know,
Moon.
throughput in your rotation.
Okay, so it makes you want to play those
Noting a
capstones.
couple of these things that we're modifying, maybe deeper optional
Moonfire has a
talents
chance
in
to
your
call down
existing
Fury for
spectries.
3 seconds.
We also, where we can, want to offer ways to make
Okay.
sure that you can trigger those effects, even if you don't have the baseline talent.
So you don't
But
even
you'll
need to be
probably
talented
want
into
to as
Fury,
well.
you can just get
So
random
this
Fury
talent,
procs.
just has Fury of Elune triggered as you're doing
That's
your
kinda
regular
cool.
rotation when you Moonfire. Both
Imagine that in a
naturally,
big AoE and you
know,
just get
powerful
big
effect
beams
that's gonna fire
down.
more frequently,
Oh.
but also to the extent that the rest
18
of the
astral
Elune's
power
chosen
for it. That's
trees
pretty good,
tie into
actually.
it, you'll get those benefits.
That would be good in AoE.
A couple of more passive examples here.
Non-arcane ability
Again,
use
just
increases damage of
doubling
next.
down on
Oh,
magnifying
lunar
your
amplification
arcane
sounds
nuclear
kind of cool.
throughput, and a final capstone ability for this tree that is further reinforcing these.
Generates damage, increase more
are
damage.
in
New moon, half moon
augmented.
also call down a crescent moon. Reduces cooldown a lunar
Leave
beam.
this slide up for a while.
Okay.
Death,
Death,
our
Stalker,
current plans
Trickster,
for
Fadebound,
all 39
Stormbringer,
of
Farseer,
the hero specs,
Totemic,
so one per
Soul
current
Harvester, Hellcall
specialization.
Diabolist,
Some cool fantasies here
Oracle,
to
Archon,
explore.
Void Reaver, Templar, Herald
Definitely
of the
really
Lightsmith,
curious to hear
Shadowpan,
community feedback on all these, which are exciting,
Yeah,
which are most resonant,
Sentinel,
which
Pack
sound,
Leader, Dark
frankly, maybe a
Ranger,
bit
Sun
lame.
Fury, Frostfire,
Are there any
Spellslinger.
that you hoped you'd see on here that you're
Oh,
not
come
seeing
on.
on here? We are, well underway building these out.
Rider of the
but it's
Apocalypse.
definitely
Sin
early
Land
enough
for
us to
Death
pivot
Knights.
on a lot
Sin
of these if
Land.
there's something the community is really excited about. I want to
Only
triple,
2 for
super
Demon Hunter.
underscore, the example talents I just gave are work in progress, very subject to change.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Probably no part
But,
of the
I like the
game
idea.
is more prone to iteration.
Take the
and so no part
talents
of the
and
game is the
make you want to play
community
certain
input
builds,
more
almost like
essential
a tier
than
set.
class design,
But, like, through
spec
talents.
design. To that
That's a
end,
land, yeah.
when we move into our
Yeah, I
alpha,
actually don't hate
probably
the
in
idea.
spring, we want to have as many, if not all of these
There are
hero
passives that
specs
reinforce certain
playable
talent
from the
choices
start,
and make them better.
so that we have the entire
In
alpha
new
and
ways.
beta
I
window
don't hate
to
it at
iterate
all.
on them, to replace the things that aren't working, to dial them all in to where everyone's going to be excited about what they're getting in War Within. It's a long road ahead. We can't wait to share that journey.
I'm
with
excited,
you
dude. I'm
and
actually
really
excited
just
about this. That's my favorite
collaborate,
feature now.
discuss back
Yes.
and forth every
Yes,
step
no,
of the
the
way.
flavor this adds is awesome. I cannot wait to see what they have for rogues. Because the amount of flavor you get out of it is incredible. I am excited.
Right.
I am very excited.
Now some other stuff. Some you've heard about, some you haven't.
Totemic?
First off,
I think Totemic is great.
Aladris, you get to be an Earthen.
Hey,
Awesome blinged out dwarves, or maybe not so blinged out if you want to customize them differently. These are going to be earned just by playing.
Are we
through
going to get
the War
more
Within
allied
campaign
races,
fully.
though,
There's
throughout the
no rep to
expansion?
grind
Because that
here,
was a
nothing else
BFA
beyond
thing.
that. You are
Okay, so you just earned these guys. You don't need to do like an allied race campaign or anything.
meeting the Earthen as it's a first
When
contact.
the race
in
it, they
essence.
said
You're gonna learn about the
fall
nature of their
2024.
problems, the
That's
nature of
about
their
all they
culture.
give.
You're going to
No
work with
date,
them to
no release
overcome
date
those
yet.
problems, win their trust. And at the end of that
Or
journey,
dwarf gonna be weird?
It will make
I think it'll be
sense, it'll a
fine.
natural next step for them to
Do you know how
lend
many people
you
switch
their
over
aid
to play
and
Dark
join
Iron
you
or
as either
normal
Horde
dwarf or Myth Plus?
Alliance. So yes, Horde dwarves.
I'm not against the Horde Dwarves. What are the
We haven't yet
racials?
finalized what the racial abilities are going to be.
Okay.
But the available classes.
Death
10
Knight,
out of the 13
Hunter,
available
Mage,
classes.
Monk, Shaman,
Everything but
Warlock,
Druid, Demon
Warrior.
Hunter, and Evoker. Now,
Okay.
on the right side here, you see a concept
So
of
they
the
have a
heritage
lot
armor
of-
you'll be able to earn from
a lot of
leveling
options.
your Earthen to max level.
Pretty good. When alpha? I have no idea.
Dynamic flight.
I am glad that Dragon Riding is here to stay. I'm happy. Hopefully they'll have like normal flying
So
and this together,
it
because I know some people really
obvious
don't like it. But
very
like,
early on in Dragonflight, probably before Dragonflight even released in beta, that we could never go back to how it used to be. Honestly, we hope that would be the outcome. We hope the feedback would be, this is so awesome, we just want this to be how flying works forever. But we immediately began, making plans for what that would mean, because it's the only way to go. And so, dragon riding is going to become the default, no longer just dragons, but dynamic flight now in War Within and beyond. We want to make sure. Oh, weird. I meant to have two mounts here, but I only see Ashes on the right. But anyway, the key point being, we want to expand this to the broader array of mounts that you have available. I think the only downside of dragon riding, as it exists today, is that you don't have much reason to use so many of the mounts that are your favorites visually, aesthetically.
I wonder if they're
going
gonna
to
make older mounts customizable
to
too,
collect.
like
You want
how
to make
dragons
sure
are.
that as much of your collection is viable as possible. So not every single flying mount is going to be able to support dynamic flight. There's some animation logistics to work with there, but as many as we can. It's a 3-digit number. We want a very wide array of mounts being able to just fly the way you've always
So like 100 mounts or
enjoyed with your
something.
dragons.
Okay, cool. Hopefully they'll add more like over time. But that's pretty cool. I think
Just
it's
to
good.
clarify, like this is the future of flying. So everywhere that you can fly today, you will be able to
Fly
dynamically
carpet, yeah.
fly or dragon ride.
That's
In
good.
fact, not just in the War Within, a little sneak peek, I think in our upcoming 10.2.5 update, you'll be able to dragon ride in Eastern Kingdoms, Kalimdor, Northrend, Outland, you name
That
it.
early. I like that. Hell yeah. That's good. They're already bringing it in. We get it early. I like this a
We
lot.
also understand there are some folks.
Oh, the
for
already
accessibility
announced
reasons,
alpha
personal preference
begins
reasons,
spring
maybe
of
just like,
2024.
AFK in the
So
midair,
really
that dragon
early.
riding isn't your favorite. We don't want to take anything away. We want to let all these mounts that can currently do the old school flying mode toggle between dragon riding or let's call it TBC flying. Up to you, whatever you prefer.
All right, so you can toggle between one or the other. Cool. I'm never going back to
And
normal flying
To
again.
be clear, dynamic flight will be available from the very start when you go to Castlegar on the Isle of Dorne, just as it was in Dragonflight.
Good, good. I like that. Like design expansion with flying in mind. I think it gives you so much freedom to like.
Old school TBC flying, Pathfinder style, will not be available right away, but it will be unlocked shortly after reaching max level with no reputation grind requirements. Just play through the campaign.
Oh man.
explore the continents,
Okay.
Then you can fly that way as
All
well.
right. Okay, so it's something you unlock, but like shortly after you hit max level,
The
that's a
existing
lot.
dragon riding glyph system
better.
in the Dragon Isles, we want to pivot that to a bit more of something that's evergreen. Some of those unlocked traits may change to only work within the Dragon Isles. Others that are more essential to just the experience feeling good, like vigor increases, regenerates, the active abilities, are just going to be things that you will
Baseline.
inherently get as you earn dynamic flight and level up naturally. We don't want down the line players to feel like they have to go back to an old expansion and fly around and collect a bunch
Makes
of
sense.
glyphs just to be able to explore the new expansion.
Okay, that's cool.
And in that vein, this is going to be the new default for leveling players. I mentioned earlier, when War Within comes out, instead of BFA, Dragonflight will be the new leveling experience that you merge into as a new player after you leave Exile's Reach.
Okay.
And so you're going to get dragon riding very early in that experience. As you just level up, gain player levels, you will improve your flight ability and get all the vigor perks and everything else that everyone has come to expect. And that's just going to be how the game works.
Okay, so it's like
as a
you'll
baseline.
just get like a
This
test
is what
run
flight
as
is
a new
now.
player. I'm cool with that. I think it's a good idea. Changing up BFA from like BFA starting experience to Dragonflight, I think is
Don't
also
worry,
good too.
PvPers, we haven't forgot you.
Okay. UBG.
This is long overdue.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
really, we should have been doing this.
Yes.
earlier.
Yes.
So there's a new battleground coming in War Within. It is a 10v10 map set in the Ringing Deeps.
Okay.
This is inspired by Silver Shard Mines with a few twists. The Ringing Deeps are a place that's full
Loot Shows is
of
looking good,
natural
Mike.
resources. That's very sort of thing that the Horn Alliance would be likely to skirmish over.
I think Mike might be a
I'm gonna
little
show
behind
you a
us.
very rough,
I'm not
early,
sure.
kind of like top-down mock-up of the layout here.
Silver Shard.
The idea is, unlike Silver Shard Mines, which is radial symmetry, this is more mirrored.
Okay.
And reflects the two sides trying to both push their own minecarts to collect resources while also fighting over a pivotal central control point that's going to change the outcome and the momentum of the match.
Okay.
This is something that the team has actually been playtesting internally a bunch over the last couple of weeks, having a blast with. When we make battleground maps, we don't really artify them. We keep them really rough, which is why I don't have any good images to show just yet, because it really is all about the layout. There's no point making it look pretty if the spacing isn't correct, if the exact paths aren't correct. That's going to be the next step. Can't wait to get this in front of everybody to start testing in alpha and beyond. And this isn't just a one-off. We want to keep adding new battleground maps going forward. This is an essential part of the game.
If we can get like a new one every patch, every major patch, I think it'd be awesome.
And
I think
I mentioned 10v10, but we are just about to undertake a little 8v8 solo queue RBG experiment in 10.2 in a week or two. So depending on how that goes, you may be experiencing this one 8v8 as well.
Okay.
So stay tuned.
Cool.
Otherwise, we have a few ongoing interface updates that we're continuing to work on. In Dragonflight, we overhauled the
Revamp
HUD,
Hunter,
the action
sure.
bars,
I hope they
the
do
unit
it as
frames,
well.
the baseline UI
I think out of
experience.
all the classes,
we made
it
it
needs
clear
to.
at the time that that was just the beginning. This is something we want to continue chipping away at, updating different pieces of the UI to be more streamlined, better reflective of the modern gameplay experience. So just a couple of examples here. So the spellbook, we are looking to modernize, update, actually make use of more than like a 1024 by 768
I like
monitor
the
resolution.
search. I think that's
Ideally,
really good.
you're not going to have to flip through multiple pages to find some ability that's not on your action bars. Also, we're combining this with our talent screen. If you look at the tabs at the bottom, you have spec, talents, and spells all in one place. So it's kind of a one-stop shop for all of the things that your character has available, rather than having two separate windows. That you need
It looks
to
clean. I can see everything and tell what the hell is what. Over balance side, class side, general, druid stuff.
Some light updates here. I think improving the overall aesthetic of the quest log, the quest window. Think if this is harder to show off just in a single screenshot, but we are adding a bunch of filters to allow you to hide and show different objectives, to see more quests available at once, to filter your log for the things you care about most. We also have a full pass in progress on our quest iconography to make it easier to differentiate between daily and weekly
buttons on
quests
the right-hand
and
side.
remove our reliance on just shades of color
Question mark,
as much as we
dots.
do, which really it is a color blindness issue for the range of quest bangs where the only difference is what color it is. And again, this is just a couple of examples of ongoing efforts. This is a project that will never be done. We're just going to continue improving and updating different aspects of the UI as we go.
So, what's up, Timson? How you doing, my guy? Cross-realm guilds. That's a pretty big one, actually.
Yes.
Guilds being
this one
cross-realm
basically
is
speaks
pretty
for
cool.
itself.
Yeah.
I've mentioned earlier, your warband is a cross-realm construct. Increasingly, so many of the activities that players engage in socially span multiple realms. You have a raid group, you have a Mythic Plus group that you run with, group that you PvP with, but you can't be in the same guild together. Not any longer. That's a thing that will change when War Within comes out. Apply, recruit, server shouldn't matter when it comes to joining a guild, when it comes to being in a guild, when it comes to accessing the perks of being in a guild.
This is good. Yeah, that's been a long overdue, like removing the barriers and stuff like that. That's going to be great for recruitment,
people
by
may
the
be
way.
wondering, wait a minute, what does that mean if now guilds are cross-realm? What about Mythic raiding? If your guild is cross-realm and your guild wants to raid Mythic, you should be able to do that day one. So no more realm restrictions there.
Good. Mythic raid pugs day one. Yeah,
the Hall of
definitely.
Fame will still exist, just kind of as a memorial of accomplishment, but it's not going to be tied to unlocking anything anymore. That's just there day one.
Cool.
And really, just philosophically, this is another step towards one of our goals of just tearing down barriers, making the game as social as possible, making it as easy as possible to play with who you want to play with, regardless of your server, regardless of your faction. As much as possible, if you want to play WoW with somebody, let's make that happen.
When it's cross-region, when is that happening? You getting cross-realm, cross-faction? What about cross-region?
So that brings us to the end of this whirlwind tour / deep dive of War Within features.
That's it?
I know there's still a bunch of questions, a bunch more information to share. Can't wait to do that in the coming days and weeks. But to begin, I'd like to invite everybody, if you have questions, if you're here at BlizzCon, go to the Darkmoon Fair in Hall D. You can drop off questions there. If you're going online, you can go to the WoW or WoW Classic subreddits or our official forums and either ask your questions there or upvote others. This coming week, when we get back to the office, we're going to huddle, review the top questions, and record streams for both Classic and for War Within, addressing the top questions to try to get as much information out there as possible. So.
Okay. I'm really thinking, I really hope he's like gonna make it sound like he's wrapping things up, but there's gonna be
Once
one
again,
last thing that he wants to show.
Thank you so much for joining us. We are
Where's this
so
at?
excited to begin this journey together with you.
Where's this at?
Can't wait for the War Within. Enjoy the rest of BlizzCon. Enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Okay.
I
It
love
looks
you
like
all.
it's actually long. There's no way. I was thinking it was gonna be more. I mean, not like I feel like he didn't give enough, but I don't know. I was thinking it was gonna sneak in something at the very end. You know what I mean? That's what I thought. All right. Well, that was quite exciting. I want to take a much closer look at some of the stuff since Wowhead is doing a great job of cataloging everything. Specifically, I want to take a close look at the so they have a couple of things here. First of all, War Within Alpha begins spring 2024. Yeah, apparently spring 2024. I guess I didn't really hear him say when it was going to be up, but apparently that's it. Apparently that's when. I really want to take a look at the talents, or some of the talents that he called out. So let me see if I can rewind it. I just want to take a look at the hero talents for druids, like a little bit closer. Like, okay, this is perfect actually. Wait, perfect. Like, this is the kind of stuff that I'm actually very, very, very excited about, because this is, let me get the music going here. This is how our characters are going to progress going forward. I want to take a second here. March probably. This said, the release itself, it could be March. Honestly, I'm kind of hoping the earlier the better, just because we're not, they also did say with an interview just this morning, I think, with WoW Wiki team, there's not going to be a 10.3. Like, there's going to be a season 4, like, most likely, like a Shadowlands faded season, but there's not going to be a proper 10.3. So I'm kind of hoping that everything comes out earlier, like early spring, early fall. You know, early would be the key word. The earlier the better, in my opinion. Just so we don't have that long of a wait. But we'll see. It's like January. We'll find out. What I missed? So they did a deep dive. You missed the entire deep dive, Maddie, on everything. But they talked about warbands, they talk about delves, they talk about hero talents. I kind of want to highlight the hero talents here really quick, because I think what they're doing here is actually pretty neat. Like, this is the hero talent for Boomkins, part of the Keeper of the Grove playstyle. You got a photo of all the specs names up? Yeah, I will, I mean, let's do that first, right? Let's look at the names. Yeah, they do. There it is. So let's do that first, and then I want to take a close look at the hero talents for the Boomkin, because I'm very, very interested in those. So for hero specs list, and these are not final by any measure. This is still a work in progress. A lot of the names and functionality may change going forward. That being said, each spec is going to have 2 hero specs that they can kind of like specialize into, as per the word spec. For that, you got Raider of the Apocalypse, Sunlane, Deathbringer. My head is covering up the druid stuff. But druid, you got Keeper of the Grove, Elun's Chosen, Wild Stalker, and Druid of the Claw. I'm actually very excited about all those. Aldrachi Reaver. I'm probably mispronouncing it, but we got the Reaver, we got the Feldscar for Demon Hunter, Evoker, you got the Chrono Warden, Ruby Adept, Scale Commander. I kind of like that, like Scale Commander Sarkareth. Hunter, you got a Sentinel, which is like the Sentinels, you know, the Maiev, Pack Leader, Dark Ranger. I kind of like that. Mage, you got the Sun Fury, Frostfire, Spellslinger. That's pretty neat. Monks, you got Master of Harmony, Shadow Pan, which I like, and Conduit of the Celestials. For Paladin, you got the Lightsmith, which I really like. It's like a blacksmith, but a lightsmith. Herald of the Sun, and Templar. I like Templar, just the sound of it. Priest, you got the Void Weaver, Oracle, and Archon. Rogues, you got the Deathstalkers, which are like the undead Deathstalkers. Trickster, Fadebound. I don't know what the hell Fadebound is, but that's probably going to be like Subtlety and Outlaw, I imagine. You know? The rogues that are all about planning their attacks on enemies or something. I'm thinking like Outlaw with like Dice of Fate that they roll, right? Either live by the RNG or try to eliminate like Subtlety. For Shaman, you got Stormbringer, Farseer, and Totemic. I am wondering if Totemic is probably going to like buff up your totems though. That could be really, really cool. Like a pure totem build that buffs your totems to be like much more effective. And like every time you toss a totem out, it is just like insanely incredibly powerful. You know, every time you pop a Healy totem, like all of a sudden the Healy totem is just like absolutely healing your party. Or like you get the Soul Harvester, Hellcaller, Diabolist, or you get the Colossus Slayer, Mountain Thane. All of these names are still a work in progress though. Dual wielding Red Pally? That would be dope. I don't think they would give Red Pally dual wield because it's something that would be shared between 2 specs, right? I don't think they would have a Holy Pally dual wield or a Prot Pally dual wield, but it would be cool if Paladins could dual wield. Now for Death Knights, I think they could do some dual wielding stuff. I think they could do that because you have the Frost DK, and maybe they could give it to Unholy as well. Maybe through like one of those hero specs, right? Like Rider of the Apocalypse or Deathbringer or something. Sit and Land, I think is really cool. I do wonder which specs are gonna get what. Palazzo Guns one day, man. Stealth Monks with Shadowpan? I don't know. Shadowpan stealthy? I guess they are, right? I could see it. Like more like agile, or maybe give like an opportunity for them to dive into stealth momentarily to like escape combat. I feel like that could be cool for like healing monks, but also for like Windwalker monks. I feel like Conduit Celestials are gonna be like Brewmaster Healy, and then Master of the Harmony is probably gonna be like Brew and Windwalker, I imagine. I'm guessing here. Like Void Weaver, you know, Shadow Priest are going to be of that. An Oracle Archon. I feel like Archon is probably holy. So you probably have Disc Priest be Void Weaver and Archons. This Shadow Priest is probably be Orc Weaver and Oracles. And Holy Priest is probably going to be Oracle and Archons. I'm guessing here. You know, these people with totems. I think it'd be cool though, you know. Imagine like if your Stun Totem or your Lava Totem for the Elemental Shamans, Healing Totem, Root Totem, defensive totems, all of those were like more effective, and maybe they buffed you when you drop them, right? So you drop a totem down, it gives you now a buff, like depending on like its element, right? You drop a healing totem, now your abilities do a little bit more water, frost damage, you know, water element or whatever. Or you drop down a lava totem, your abilities do a bit more lava damage, as like elemental or something, or even enhancement. I fear that I'll get it. I fear what Og will get? Og will get the Chrono Warden and probably Scale Commander. I imagine. Probably Scale Commander. Because Ruby Adept seems like a healer thing. So healers will probably get Ruby Adept and Chrono Warden. Og is probably going to be Chrono Warden and Scale Commander. And Dev is probably going to get Scale Commander and Ruby Adept. I imagine. Because I can't see Dev being a Chrono. So they would have to get these two. I imagine. We don't even know like what they will be. It just all I know are the names. Right? What do you think will be a good Demon Hunter? Like spec, both Vengeance and Havoc are looking really good for like 10.2 if that's what you're asking. Yeah. Gonna be hard to choose a main now. Dude, yeah, because now not only do you have a class spec, and now you have a sub-spec. A hero spec. I think it's gonna be really cool though. I think just being able to like add a little bit extra depth through more like passives that really do make you want to play certain talents or certain abilities. I think that's really unique idea. I think it's really novel. I like this. Like, this doesn't add too much crazy complexity into our classes. It allows us to keep the builds we do, but also just gives you like more opportunity to play other talents and use them in different ways, like with Boomkin specifically. It's about Trickster and Fatebound. Yeah, Trickster, I imagine, is going to be like Rogues. It's all about like confusing their foes, or maybe like when you gouge something or shadow step behind an enemy, maybe you get like a damage buff or something, so you can use step maybe to like do more damage or maybe more defensive or whatever. Who knows, right? Maybe like vanishing out of sight gives you like an advantage over the target. Who knows, right? We'll see. Deathstalker though, that sounds really cool. Trickster and Fatebound. I want to see what Trickster is. I feel like that's Outlaw. That's so Outlaw. But Fatebound, I'm interested as well. I was really hoping they would have like something that has to do with like Valera or like Van Cleef, right? Like Saboteur. Imagine if they had Saboteur, because Deathstalker I feel like fits it. Trickster, Fatebound. We'll see, right? Names are just a work in progress. Names don't even matter. It's more about the talents anyway. Or Shadow Clones? That'd be cool. I think Shadow Clones would be cool to bring back at some point. It looks good in the whole. I wasn't expecting to come back to WoW, but that's me very interested. But hopefully Violet will be good, yeah? Hopefully it will look good. I like the Sentinel for Hunter. The pack leader, I think, as a name, is just, it's not bad. But it's like pretty much like, okay, you have pets. Subtlety and BM. Subtlety. Survival and BM. Easy. But maybe they'll give you like a lot more pet support, right? Your pet will become more of like a key component, so you can play a proper pet build as survival. That'd be cool, you know? That'd be neat. But also Sentinel? Oh, imagine if you could just run up and melee with a glaive. Or like whatever the hell, that chakram thing that Sentinels run. That'd be cool. Right? Maybe like Beastmaster or Marksman or whatever. I don't even know which spec would get Sentinel. I know survival maybe. Maybe. I need Death Row buff back, dude, for real. Well, they haven't talked until like what class changes they're going to be making. They don't necessarily want to shake up our classes like crazy, right? I'm sure there's going to be revamps. Like I would hope to see another Hunter revamp, maybe another revamp for Shamans or Monks. But Hunters and Monks in particular, like I'd like to see those classes get revamped a little. Frost Death Knight I'd like to see a bit of a revamp for as well. But like the rest of the classes are not in like a awful standing for the most part. So I would be able to use Warglaives. Not Warglaives, but like chakrams, I imagine. Because like what do Sentinels use? Like their weapon is like a circular thing with blades at the edges, right? It's like a bladed circle. It's like a chakram, not really a Warglaive, is it? It's similar. Like it's a light weapon, but you know. Yeah, this sounds really cool. And like the ideas what they could go with it, it's awesome. I want to see what the Farseer is actually going to be like, because that's Thrall, man. That's Thrall. A lot of these are actually, in some way, taken from like original Warcraft heroes. Like, technically, some of the heroes in Warcraft that you could recruit as different factions, or from like the inn, right? You could recruit the Dark Ranger. Sentinel, you had Maiev, right? So, Rider of the Apocalypse was like the Arthas archetype character. You know what I mean? But also they had like what, a frozen Nerubian dude. No, not frozen, but they had a Nerubian hero. They had a Dreadlord hero, like a Lich hero, you know, things like that. So I think that's kind of like where they're kind of taking it from. Like Farseer, I think that was like literally a hero type that the Horde could recruit, is the Farseer. And then Totemic, I don't know if they counted, but they had like a big old Tauren with like a big old... Or maybe not. No, there was like a unit that used the totem as a weapon, but I think the other guy was like just like a Bane lookalike guy that had B-res. Little things like that, you know? So I think that's kind of where some of their ideas came from, but not completely, right? Like Sunfire, Frostfire, Spellslinger, that's a little different. Elun's Chosen, Keeper of the Grove. But like, it's almost like they took like the idea of like an archetype. But I really like it. I want to take a closer look at the talents though for druids. That's what I really want to take a look at earlier. Like, I love the amount of customizability here. Like, Keeper of the Grove Druid, you are playing into, from the top talent, Harmony of the Grove, where you summon up Treants as a Resto Druid or a Bumpkin. They buff your damage and they buff your healing while they're active. Right? Sack the Harmony, after they fade, you still get the buff but at half value. I think that stuff is really, really cool. I think that's like really, really awesome for me. Karen, no? Yeah, I think Karen. I think you're right. So, like, depending what if you're talking about, like, the Warcraft 3 campaign, where they actually had, like, some of those characters there, or you talk about multiplayer, where you basically, like, in campaign, you had Thrall as the Farseer hero. But in, like, multiplayer, it was just some random shaman with, like, a stick and riding a wolf. But, like, it wasn't quite Thrall lookalike, but it was still also the Farseer class with the Chain Lightning, Ghost Tools that you could summon, and I think it was a Slow Totem, right? Or Ground Totem, and Earthquake is his, like, hero ultimate ability, ulti. Yeah, so it's like little things like that. I think that's where they got a lot of inspiration from, but also because like you wouldn't describe Maiev as like a rogue or a hunter, right? Maiev as a character in WoW or like Warcraft 3, Sentinel specifically, or like Vol'jin, you wouldn't really describe as a hunter. He was a like a shadow hunter specifically, but just not quite the same, but like along the same lines, but like unique. And I think that's what they were trying to do with like all the names and stuff. And I like that idea, right? Just take that like original hero fantasy and find a way to like augment your classes. So like for druids, right? I like how they have choice of like Treants you can buff you. But also you could just get like, instead of taking the Treant buff, you could take like, oh, just buff your damage. You know, everything baseline does a little more damage. But I really like Treants, dude. That's to make you want to play into Treants more when they moonfire nearby targets. On multiple targets. You summon up 3 Treants, they'll moonfire everything. That is so good, you know? And they buff you and they generate your resources and they do like a burst cooldown now. Treants actually do something. That is so good. Maeva's not Sentinel, she's a Warden. It wants a Sentinel, like, technically. WoW Sentinel. WoW Sentinel. Sentinels are officially the military arm of the night. Are those the ones that run around on tigers, on cats, and throw glaives? Is that the one? Yeah, no, Sentinels are different then. No, yeah, Sentinels are these girls. I don't know why you don't see the full picture. They're like, hold on, these are Why is it such a small picture? These ones. Oh, come on. Why is it so? It's the ones on the cats. Those are the Sentinels. Okay, so I had it wrong. Why is it such a small picture? Okay. There we go. There we go. Like, Sentinels would be... they're not writing cats on this one. But, like, there will be original Sentinels. I guess they don't necessarily have to write cats. Oh, wait, that's a Sentinel, I guess. Okay, so Sentinel is a little different then. That's a Warden. No, you're right. You are 100% right. Yeah, I had it wrong. Sentinel is a little... for some reason, I just assumed Sentinel and, like, Warden are the same in my mind. That's even more unique. That's actually... I like it a lot more. Because they throw glaives. Never mind. Forget about me. Wait, does that mean Warden could actually be a proper class at some point in the future? Because I'd like a Warden as a real class at some point. Like an agility, mail-wearing class. I feel like... I know we got evokers, but, like, we could probably use more. Not evokers, but more mail-wearing classes. Anyway, but, like, Keeper of the Grove... I like it. I also like how it's different from the Fury of Elune or Elune's Chosen. Because this is something that Boomkins, but also Bear Druids are going to share. You know how bears can really go into Moonfire playstyle? Imagine this as a Bear Druid. You Moonfires call down the Furies of Elune. You just Moonfire hybrid bear it. And you can play full Elune's Chosen with Lunar Beam. That lasts longer. That actually does a decent bit of damage. Enemies damaged by full moon, Fury of Elune, and Lunar Beam take 4% increased damage for 6 seconds. Non-arcane abilities increase the damage of your next arcane ability. Imagine the big moonfires, or you just stack up a big Lunar Beam. Oh, how cool would that be? I like this, man. It's so good. It really makes it helps you complete certain capstones. Oh, I love this. I like this a lot. It lets you leverage like a different playstyle altogether. You know, and they're mostly passive, but like they really do change the way you play. I like this. Give Pally a charge. Pallies don't have a charge, do they? Yeah, you're right. Maybe. I was hoping for a Dark Dwarf Necromancer as a class of sorts, so it was very unlikely, at least to me, that they would add another class into this expansion. Normally what they do is they add a class every other expansion. But they usually have had this as a, like, ever since, like, the beginning of the game, ever since, like, first expansion and on and on and on, they usually add a new race in an expansion, or they add a new class. Like, TBC, Draenei and Blood Elves. Wrath of Lich King, Death Knight. No new race. Kata, Goblins and, Worgen. Miss Pandaria, Monk. And Panda. That was the first time they added both. Then we had Wad that didn't do anything, except, like, I guess give new models for everybody but Blood Elves. Those guys apparently were done way later. And then Legion came out with a Demon Hunter. Then BFA came out with a bunch of allied races. Then Shadowlands came out with nothing. Then Dragonflight came out with augmentation with Evokers. Dragthier Evokers. Right? So there's both. And then it would make sense for this one to like hold back on that. And maybe we'll get a new class after this, who knows? But they are adding an allied race this time around. So I also, if they're like BFA, right? Because in BFA they added allied races like over patches. You know, we got like in Legion, towards the end of Legion, we had the Void Elves, Lightforged, Magar, and High Mountain Tauren. No, Nightborn and High Mountain Tauren. Then we got Dark Iron Dwarfs to the Alliance, Magar for the Horde after finishing the war campaign. And then later we got the Cortyrans and Zandalari. So we got them over the expansion. Let me see if I can... Yeah, let me do it like that. Yeah. I was wondering, could we possibly do Undermine in the War Between, maybe? The War Within? Undermine. I mean, why not? Wait, is that a place? What I miss? Yeah, I missed quite a lot, actually. That's quite a bit, Maddie. Necromancer setup class will probably be Midnight Spec. Yeah, maybe. Or like a Void Reaver or something. I don't really know what they would do. We'll see. Midnight Spec is focused around Elfish Society 100%. We're going to get a class. That would be Wardens. How cool would that be if we got Wardens with that one, man? Dude, they got something cooking. So, you know what? Having Chris Metzen like announce this stuff just gives me like hope. You know, I'm excited. I want to see what they're cooking up. I want to see it to this final conclusion. But like these are pretty good though, like talent wise. Crescent Moons deal astral damage, generate astral power. New Moon, Half Moon also throw down a Crescent Moon. Fury of Elune seems really good. I like the Lunar Amplification. I think that's really cool as a talent. Just like you can buff the next ability and you can like set it up. This is where I really want to see like a full setup for like any other classes. Like I just want to be able to like mouse over these things and read all the talents and like start thinking together like how can you craft builds and stuff. Like Warden, the rogue counter class. I thought Demon Hunter was a pretty good rogue counter class. Male agility class would be dope. Yeah. Undermine the goblin area. I feel like if you're going like an underground, doing some underground stuff with I mean if you're doing like entire underground expansion, I could see us maybe doing like an undermine type of deal at some point. Maybe like that could be like a zone, right? Because imagine like they're not just gonna have like the 4 zones and that's it. They usually add like zones as the expansion goes on with patches. So yeah. But yeah, Maddie, you missed there was a deep dive. They talked about warbands. They talked about the hero talents. They talked about delves, dragon riding or dynamic flying. That's coming out like everywhere, and it's gonna be together the same pacing as like normal flying. So you can be able to choose between normal flying or dynamic flying if you want to. Yeah, that's what you miss. So a bit. I know we're talking about classic right now, but you know it's weird that I haven't talked about Dragon Soul at all for Kata. I mean, it makes sense because it's like a final raid, right? I don't think they're going to be talking about Dragon Soul first because there's going to be first tier. I think eventually they get to Dragon Soul. Although I do hope they change up Dragon Soul a little bit as like the back of Deathwing fight, you know, because it was just a little scuffy. Oh, speaking about classic, did you see that? I went back and watched the stream when they were talking about Classic Plus like this season. Do you see that little like video trailer with like the janky camera and making like everybody lag in the screens, right? They show Black Fathom Depths, the raid, the 10-man raid, and how it looks so jank. They did it on purpose just to make it like look original, dude. Old classic. Even the camera, not even smooth, just like a mouse. It's so good. All they had to do is make it 360p, throw it up on YouTube. Add like a bandit cam in the corner and be like, all right, it fits the timeline, it fits the time period. Not even BWD. They won't talk about Bastion and Firelands. I'm sure they'll have like everything else available, or maybe they just don't want to give away anything yet. Yes, well, the end, right? Yeah. Classic Plus is gonna be super fun. I'm excited for it. I'm very excited. I'm excited for the seasonal stuff. That's going to be November 30th. I will not be able to start it day 1, but the fact that it's going to be like a cap to level 25, I feel like hitting level 25 is very doable. So like dive into endgame stuff and just exploring and trying to see if you can create your build, and then we'll expand on it and add more content. And like having that cap at 25, oh, it's so much doable, dude. It is very, very doable. Level lower class 25, I think it's going to be very doable. I don't even know what class I'm going to play. I'm thinking of playing maybe like a rogue tank, just because that's going to be possible if I can get like the right talents for it. But you see they're adding outlaw abilities to that. You get a pistol shot, you got a between the eyes, you got a saber slash. Oh, they're doing good stuff with that, man. They're good. You can shoot a gun. Jump take warlock tank sounds so fun. Yeah, for sure. But also they added like the poison interactions for mutilate for assassination too. That looks really good. Like every class looks so much better. What is this? Where are the duels? Duels are out. I don't think we're doing duels this evening, Sky. BLIZZCON stuff, man. That's been keeping me busy. I feel like I should go and work on a video now. We didn't do duels yesterday. I don't think we'll be doing duels this evening. I mean, we'll be out in like an hour, so I guess we could technically. But like, I didn't plan. Should we do duels? Because I could end the stream right now, set up a duel thing, and we could try to see if we can get duels going. I don't know how many people are even in for duels and stuff. Yeah, I have no idea. I was originally, it looked like this whole presentation was going to happen at around like 6 p.m. So I didn't plan on streaming until 6. Boris, yes. You think we'd be able to scrape together a couple homies, Boris? Just a couple of them. Is it classic live stream during normal duels time? When is the classic live stream? I kind of want to watch it now, because I'm excited about classic stuff too. I know it's like not everyone's cup of tea, at least in my community, but BLIZZCON schedule. Let me look it up. There's a WoW meet and greet, much of the Murlocs, WoW and Warcraft Rumble meet and greet, Overwatch What's Next, Diablo Campfire Chat, Flatter the Dragon Riders. No, there's no more WoW stuff besides like meet and greet, rumble greet. They got Warcraft experience, Darkman Fair experience. No, there's no more classic stuff. There's Overwatch, campfire chat, pre-recorded content, community night, special performance by Les Seraphim. I'm not familiar with him at all. That's it. Yeah, there's no more classic stuff. That was yesterday. I mean, I guess I could go back and watch those things if I wanted to, but probably do it in my free time. I'll think about it, Boris. I'll think about it, yeah? I'll think about it, man. Some of my guildies actually went to BlizzCon. Acid Chagri said find your wife, and then somebody in front of the sword in a Valera cosplay. Acid and a couple of the other guildies met up with one of our homies. They didn't even know they were gonna be going together, and they've just been kind of hanging out with like all the rank 1 raider people over there, just talking, chatting, taking videos. It was we have a guilty, Pete in guild. He's a priest, and then, I don't know why we started calling him Pate. I don't know how. I think it was I think he put in a question for like I forget who he put in a question for someone's stream, and they called him, instead of Pete, they called him Pate. So then we had the automatic jack. They're like, hey, what's up, Pate? It is so good. It's a fun experience. I definitely want to go again. I've never been, man. I want to go next year. I want to go next time. I really, really want to go. I've never been. I want to experience it. Initially, I wanted to go like with a buddy of mine, like IRL friend from like way, way back in the day, man. My buddy Ryan. We decided like, yo, at some point we gotta go. So I gotta see if Ryan would want to go like next year maybe. Now that we know that we have 3 expansions coming out, right? I imagine every BlizzCon is gonna be a banger, at least for like 6 years, man. You know. They have like questions and answers coming to it. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they decide not to do them live. I feel like they learned the lesson after the Diablo thing, right? Is this an April Fool's joke? They didn't want to like get an embarrassment moment or whatever. They were like, all right, just write them in. We'll look at them. We'll do a sit down, answer questions, play it safe. It kind of just takes out the community thing, but I think it's probably a better way of going about it, right? Metamorphosis B and Shapeshift was crazy too. Yeah, it just seems like it'll just be able to pop it on. Tell people when the server you play on it's gonna be mad anymore. Do you tell people what server you play on? Illidan. I play on Illidan. I guess it doesn't really matter anymore, does it? Because they're just really removing a lot of the barriers. Druid has a Wind Fury buff. Hold on. Do they really? Bear from attack in classic. What? That seems good. Looking back at the open mic thing they used to have, most of them were kind of back. Yeah, like. I think it's good for them to like go through them and, you know, pick out the best questions and hit those up. But yeah, it's just what happens, right? It's just the stuff that happens when you're doing things live, you know? You just can't expect that all the time. You know what I mean? Like, when things are happening live like this, you don't really have that much control, you know? What happens, happens. The best they can do is like just have presenters and do their, you know, the presentations and show off cinematics and chat with the audience, you know, and then just go mingle afterwards, right? That stuff you can kind of sort of control, but like if you have people come up with like a question or whatever, you know, it's just, I think it also takes out the like potential social awkwardness that you can get out of it. I liked it for like the whole like interactions, but they could also do that off stage too, right? And then they've been walking around, there's people posting pictures of meeting with the devs and like talking and hanging out and stuff, you know, so they can do that without having to have a microphone and a camera on people. Yeah, it is a safer play though. It is a safer play too, because you also are going to miss out those moments, because that was not a really great moment But also, no, they have two of those moments, in fact. They have two of those moments, in fact, that they just will live down in infamy. Is this an April Fool's joke? And you think you do, but you don't, right? Because not only are people being put on the spot to ask a question, but also devs themselves as well. And like, if you're not calm and collected, you may say something that'll just get memed into eternity. And that's not great for optics for anybody. It's a safe play, but it's probably the right play. You know what I mean? It takes out some of that interactivity, but like it's a live stream. Hope Outlaw gets some cool hero talents, maybe gunslinger thing. Maybe, Danny. I don't know if they would do gunslinger specifically. They would probably play around class talents rather than spec talents, because there's not too many abilities that all rogue specs share, except for like Outlaw and Subtlety share Shadow Dance and Ambush playstyle and Shadow Strike stuff. So they'll probably have talents that support that. And then Trickery, maybe like Slice and Dice, maybe like basic Mutilate, Thunder Strike stuff with Assassination, who knows? Or CC based things, mobility things, who knows? We'll find out. It's hard to kind of glean what the talents are going to be like just from name alone. Pandaren were an April Fool's joke a long time ago. Pandaren, yes, initially they ran it by as an April Fool's joke, but the community like liked the idea and they just ran with it, and then it wasn't that bad of an expansion altogether. Hit the druids and warriors, good things first time, even if it's just for convenience. They said themselves like the reason why they strap things onto druids because druids have 4 specs and all of them play very, very differently. Sorry about that. And if they can get it working for a druid, they could probably do other classes. I feel like there's probably even like some truth in that. If not completely the true statement, there's probably some truth in that also. Because they have 4 specs, and if you can figure that stuff out with those 4 specs and get something working, right? Like tying Boomkins with Restore around the Treants playstyle, and then Boomkins with Guardian with like that lunar hybrid stuff. If they can figure that out and get some interesting talents, like these are all pretty decent sounding. Figures Druids as a spec, delete a Druid spec. Well, I think Druid, I don't think they necessarily need to delete it, but like if they work on the one that's like the most complex in terms of the amount of specs, and if that works, then you should be able to transpose it to all the other specs and have an easier time with it. You know, not every spec is going to be like cookie cutter and it's not all going to fit perfectly, but yeah, I think overall it's good. As for Warrior though, I think they just kind of wanted to get a mock-up for Warrior, right? They got the Stormbolt thing and then probably want to run with it. They wanted to probably try some of the different animations for abilities. I saw one guy in the very traditional ask why they hit it Enhancement Shaman and went on a short rant about how badly they're treated. There's some older game gems. Really? I saw a picture of Markers on Twitter. He was in a bathroom and he was like holding his nose and he was bleeding. Like, I can't tell if it was like somebody assaulted him or just he got hit or an accident or whatever. Like, if that guy got assaulted for random stuff, you know what I mean? Like, some people are crazy, you know what I mean? Just absolutely crazy. PvP balance is going to be a nightmare. Well, you mean like with the hero talents? I mean, what reason, like with the current talents as it has right here, I don't really see that these talents are like super overpowered, right? There's some really cool like Light of the Loon, Lunar Amplification, you know, some of these like buffs with the Eternal Moon where Fear of Villain is going to do 50% more damage. That stuff seems pretty good, but I don't really, even like the nature side of things too, yeah? I just don't really know like which of these talents would be problematic for PvP. This just allows you to play into Treants, which Rest already does. It's not a massive, huge buff for Treants, except for maybe like this one right here, but Astral Power could also be really good because that's just more burst damage. You know? But it's like it plays around a specific window of Treants and buffing yourself with Treants. Of course, you can go like more passive options, but they're not going to be as bursty as like Bountiful Bloom, which just generates resources because Treants are out for a while. You know? I think this will be enough for like a power gain, but I haven't seen anything like broken yet. Although I wouldn't put it past them. Not every class has 4 specs, literally just delete 1 GG, melee or range. Same thing with every time first Druid, Hunter, Warrior. I don't really know. I wouldn't really want him to delete a Druid spec, right? Because I like Feral, and Boomkin is actually fun. And I feel like Resto has a unique playstyle, and I kind of like Guardian. Not just in the current season because they're good, but like I always like Guardian. No, I don't think they necessarily need to delete them. Like, are you saying like delete them just so they can give like your class their talents first? I mean, I don't want to kill the uniqueness of druids. I think they're fine. I think they figured it out pretty well. Yeah, I just don't understand it. Unless you're saying like delete one just so you like your class can get talents first, and it's like, I guess, but I don't think that really solves anything. It just convenience, I guess. For specs to all classes, I don't think they should do that. I feel like the only way they should do that is if they figure out like a pretty good idea or like an archetype. And they said they don't want to add too many more support classes in the game. I feel like if they add any more specs, Demon Hunter maybe getting a third one. I'm not against that. But like augmentation, they don't really want to do too many more augs, and they want to make aug not a necessity for Mythic Plus specifically. It should be unique, but it should basically be like as good as any other DPS. Like you either bring an aug or bring another DPS, and it's like they don't want it to be that strong. They want it to be valuable in its own way, but not stronger and better to bring an aug than not bringing an aug. But it looks like that's not something they want to chase. Although it could be one of those things that like they say it right now, but like maybe in a patch or two we'll get another support spec or a change in one of the specs to support spec. We'll see them. Delete a hog and make it a tank spec. That would be an idea. I don't think a tank with intellect scaling would work super well because I don't think they've ever done one. But who knows? I should delete a druid spec because you don't like the show versus BlizzCon. Yeah, I feel like if that's your reasoning for it, then I don't really know. You know, it's like it sounds like something you want, but it's like I don't think it's a good enough reason. You know. Delete a spec of druid so my spec can get a type. You know what I mean? No, I think AUG is fine as it. Like I like the uniqueness of AUG. I think they should stay with it. In fact, I actually would probably want more classes to be like support specs and stuff. Not in the same way as AUG or not as impactful as AUG, but like I like the idea of like that's a unique class design, right? And keeping that in the back pocket for like future class idea. Oh, it's a dart class, you know, we have a couple of those. Oh, it's a burst class, we have a couple of those. It's a class that punctures enemies' armor and has like a damage window, we have a couple of those. It's a class with shapeshifting, we have those too. Class that drops down a turret, so like what, a kind of like a better shaman drops out totems that use to turret things down. You know what I mean? Like I think they've done everything, and just having like, oh, it's a buff class, or what I think you should add is a debuff class. Pierces enemies' defenses, all allies do more damage to that target for like a short amount of time. You know, it's like Aug Evoker puts like a debuff on the enemy, collects a portion of the damage, and then smacks the enemy for it, and above their allies, maybe make a class of debuffs, makes the enemy a little bit weaker, so your allies hit him a little harder. I think stuff like that would be cool. And I think they should keep it in the back pocket in case they come up with a cool idea, but like not completely abandon it. We'll see what they do. But it doesn't sound like from the interview this morning I read that they want to add more augs into the game. Or flood the game with more augs. So we'll see what they do. Force a spec to have 4 each. Guilds to do that, and some specs feel redundant. Just uses more most content. I haven't even thought about it from that angle too, of like redundancy. Penny Catastrophe, come back, please. I'm trying to get anything first as every expansion. If having a first spec is required to do it first, delete one. It's the only reason they do it on Druid is because it's the most difficult one to do. So, like they said, it's the most difficult one to get going. But if they can do that, right? If they try it on a Druid and if it works, other classes should be much easier on paper. Like if Druid is like having a class that's a good testing ground, I don't think is the worst, right? If it doesn't work on a Druid, then they're not gonna try with every other class. But if you can do it for the one that's like the most complex or it requires the most attention, then everybody else will be easier. But also, like, I don't know. I think it's an interesting. I never thought of it like that. You know, why? Because usually they show up Druid talents. Like, in fact, for Dragonflight, that is the first set of talents that showed up is Boomkin talents, specifically Boomkin. I remember that, and Resto a little bit. Like we saw pictures of it, but not like what the talents were. Take meta back from Demon Hunter, give it to the Warlocks, give Warlocks the ability when Demon to turn into a demon again. Yeah, I feel like that's only going to be the season, classic season thing. I think, because Metamorphosis has been very much like an iconic Demon Hunter thing since like Warcraft 3. And I get why they gave it to Demonology, right? You master demons, you literally can turn to demon. I'm not against them maybe like bringing it back in somewhere or another, but I don't really know. I think what they got going with like a summoner class has been pretty cool. It's just, we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, that's what, I mean, you'll be able to play the season, right? The seasonal content, you'll be able to play Demon there. Looks like they're doing a live blog for Overwatch stuff. Orange is the only class with game shapeshifts right now. Yes, ideally, yeah, the only class in the game that can. Well, I guess unless you count like Ghost Wolf form for Ghost Wolf for shamans, because it acts like a shapeshift, like it turns into a beast. Like you can't be like hit by Succubus CC or certain other crown controls. Few crown controls like Seduce, you can be hit by that. Even your friend have a peace stream. Yo, Vlad, Zdorowa, man. Zdorowa. It sounds like they have a 4 specs and have to work around shapeshifts to get an auras working properly. Well, it's also like the design, and like they use agility, they use intellect, they use a variety of different resources, right? But yeah. What specs do you think need reworks? I'm thinking. I think out of all the specs in the game, although I'd say classes. I'd say it's classes that need to probably needs reworks. Not necessarily specs. Like if you take a look at this picture here, I think hunters could probably go use a rework. And monks. Chad has convinced me monks are probably one of the classes that probably could use a rework. Hunters definitely. Hunters may. Monks maybe. Because rogue rework is good. Demon Hunter for the most part is good. Frost Death Knight, I'd say maybe could use a bit of a facelift. Evoker is mostly fine. Like it's, I make the DPS spec a little tankier. Shamans is mostly okay, but like maybe they could use a refresher. Not quite a rework, but a refresher. Warlock, I think Destruction specifically, I think their spec talents are a little rigid to talent around. Warriors are mostly fine. Priests are mostly fine. Paladins are mostly fine, minus like the Prot tier set, but that's like a 10-2 thing. Mages are pretty good. They got a rework recently. Druids are mostly fine too. Yeah. I think there's like classes, Hunter, Monk probably. Specs, Frost DK. And Frost Death Knight. That's about all I can think of right now. Affliction, oh, Destro. Affliction uses the devs to wake up and focus on dots again. Get rid of Malefic, go back to multi-stack anyways. So they do have a playstyle right now that works with like a very dot heavy build, but Malefic is like a spender. Maybe you're right though, about stacking UAs. I kind of like having like a good solid UA, but yeah. I felt like UA stacking was fine for Legion, but it's also not like the most... It's also not the best playstyle either. You know? I feel like having some kind of like a single target spender or an AoE spender with your soul shards isn't the worst idea.
Yeah, so is that cool if I use your song in my
but yeah.
video? Yeah, I'll credit you in that. Nice one.
Oh! In a tweet, they said, Dragthier's soar ability, the racial, will become a proper dragon riding skill. One thing not to mention, deep dive, the Dragthier's soar will become full dragon riding for Dragthier, so it's kind of like, you know, running wild as a Worgen, but you'll just fly as a Dragthier. That'll be your flying. This is happening 10 to 5, not 11. Mentioned deep dive. Main difference being it still cancels when touching ground, and you still have the launch spell to start soar. So as long as you don't touch the ground, you can fly. Cool. But like if you want to like properly fly and be able to take off or whatever, I guess it's still gonna have a cooldown though, yeah? That's kind of neat. Love the song artist. It's pretty good. Yeah. That'd be cool. Yeah, for sure. More than just chaos bolts and instant raids being most of the rotation. Challenge demon fire is not fun, especially when they can't move. That's the thing I would want for Destro, is to give them a bit more mobility. I just find also is its rigidity and like being able to spec into certain talents. Like it's a lot of commitment just to go into Soulfire. It's a lot of commitment to go into like Shadowburn. It's a lot of commitment and you can't really pick the spells up and then augment them to make them better. But also you just don't have like mobility. I feel like they just need to give that spec a little bit more mobility. Either like give them more instants or easier to pick up your instacasts so you can get around. But yeah, it's just, I feel like it's just rigidity as you head towards the capstones. And you can't really pick up all the things you want. That's how I feel about it, you know? And with the tiers that lock you into Demon Fire, it just feels like you're just even more limited, you know? It's like you're a contortionist and you just got yourself in a bind and you can't really go anywhere. That's what it feels like whenever I spec into that class or spec. You know, I'm like messing around with talents and stuff. And I want to miss, well, deep dives. So you missed a lot actually, Pio. We missed, you missed hero specs and hero talents. To talk more about it. They have like some of the names and like some of the actual talents and what they will look like and how they'll function more or less. Let's see if we can get to that one image. Or did they end the stream? Oh, they might have ended it. I don't think I'll be able to find it now. Unless like Wowhead has it. Crap. But yeah, the deep dive also talked about the allied races with the Earthern. They talked about warbands, which is like the cross but like account wide and account alt friendly feature where like a character share a bunch of stuff. Delves, which is the open world stuff. Some PvP updates. Some of the vault stuff as well. That's gonna be happening on Selfire. Actually, it does damage. Like W. Fair enough. Oh, there we go. For some reason, it doesn't really want to find this specifically. It's not loading. Yeah. Wait, no, it worked. That time it did. I'm trying to get like. Crap. I'm trying to show you the. There we go. Tireless of talents. So you can kind of see what the hero talents are like. They talked a little bit about those. Yeah, I'm excited for it too. Like the way that you'll be able to customize your boomkin with your Loon's Chosen or the Grove Guardian. Oh, I love it. It makes certain abilities even stronger. It makes you want to play certain capstones or certain talents in the top rows. And like it modifies like your guardians, like Grove Guardians, to like moonfire things and give you more damage and a bunch of resources. So they become like a proper damage cooldown. Kind of like how they were like in Wrath of Lich King or like Cataclysm. We send them out as like a big damage dealer. Not just like to taunt things off you, but actually would throw them as part of your like burst rotation. So I kind of like that. I like that stuff. Fall next year? Yeah, fall 2024. All we know. We don't have a month, don't have a date, don't have nothing. Go watch panel? Sure. But apparently they said spring 2024 is when they'll get the alpha rolling out. So after the year, in spring, hopefully your boy will get alpha and hopefully we'll be able to do a bunch of alpha streams and take a look at everything. It's going to be fun. It's going to be overwhelming. So far away. It could be early fall. But yeah, I mean, would you want it to come out undercooked or would you want it to stay in the oven for a little longer? I would prefer like if it was a choice between undercooked or just right, let it sit in the oven. That's how I view it. Hopefully no NDA. No. They usually don't have an NDA. Like if they do have an NDA, right? Because there was like an earlier build for alpha, so the content creators could make a couple of early videos ahead of time, and they just couldn't tell anybody about it for like 2 weeks or something like that. And then it's like proper alpha, like public alpha. Everybody can see stuff. Usually there's no like big NDA. Everybody can see everything, so you can stream it, talk about it, make videos on it, all that. Yeah, I'll give you guys an update on it as soon as I know something. Unless I am under an NDA, then I can't, but, yeah. I gotta say, I feel spoiled with WoW things as I need Kata in your retail expansion. Not only just one, but they announced 3. Not just 1, 3. They announced 3. War Within, Midnight, and The Last Titan, or a Last Titan. I don't remember what the term is. Titan one. So 3. And then Kata, and then Season of Mastery. Yeah, it is awesome. It is awesome. Dude, this is like, they got so much content for like, at least what feels like the next 6 years or something, dude. Or somebody tweeted like 20 years. Who knows, right? But yeah, I'm excited. I said Dragonflight is not over. I have to mention this time 10.2. What do you think that is? The 10.3 confirmed. So they did an interview with Morgan Day. He did mention that there's no 10.3. But they do have more story stuff, and the devs are happy with the cadence of regular updates, and they kind of want to keep that like regular updates a thing, even though without a 10.3. So I imagine they're gonna do like a 10.25, 10.27, and maybe like 10.28, maybe, I don't know, or maybe they'll get like a pre-expansion event rolling out a little early. before like War Within, and then they'll lead into like the pre-patch event, and then they'll lead into the actual expansion. So they'll probably have something going for it, I imagine. So the Dragonflight, considering there will be a story altogether. Yeah, we'll see. Right? Maybe they're saying there's no 10.3 planned, but then they'll have like some kind of like a 10.3, but like not as big of like with a full raid tier or anything. It'll probably be like a faded season, like a season 4 set of content or whatever. I think that they have an idea at the very least, and they haven't revealed everything just yet. But we'll know, I'm sure, in due time, because like 10.2.5 is already ready to go to PTR. Like they already found and sniffed out that a 10.2.5 exists. They haven't encrypted it because it's been able to decrypt it because the entire thing is encrypted for now. But they know that it exists. It's there somewhere out there in the nether. It does exist. It is somewhere there. It does exist. But yeah, it's all in the air, it seems. For now. Yeah, for now it is. But yeah, we'll see. I'm sure they'll have something cooking though. I mean, hell, they had 3 whole entire expansions cooking in the background at this point, so we'll see. Can you show the monk healer? There's no talents for the monk healer. I look at show is like, when it comes to monks and anything has to do with class stuff, they don't have like talents for monks. All they have is like this little panel over here with hero spec list. That's about all I got for you. They've only been able to show Boomkin because that's like the one they've been able to work on, and then a little bit about warrior, only like the names, and some of it's like play styles, like a strongbow that can cleave or hit multiple targets. That's about all. Do you think tanks should be able to PvP Dal? They've had a really hard time balancing tanks for like ever. So if they can tune them properly, sure. But like tanks, like I guess it depends what you want tanks to be. Because tanks, I guess like you're supposed to be more durable than a DPS, but probably shouldn't do as much damage as a DPS. But that makes it like such a weird spot for like how do you help out your team? I guess you're there to run flags, but like what if you want to do or arenas? I guess you're just going to be what, off healing? Are you supposed to be a support class, like kind of like AUG? Like what the hell is a tank supposed to do? And I feel like they've never really been able to answer that. What I think tanks should be, in my opinion, is it should be just as squishy as a DPS, right? It's an alternative playstyle. I know you're a tank role, but in PvP, I feel like it just shouldn't be like, you shouldn't be tankier than a DPS. But you should be able to be as impactful damage-wise as a DPS. You just play differently. Maybe like tanks should have good consistent damage and maybe some support abilities like defensive stuff, you know, to help an ally out, you know, little utilitarian stuff like a silence shield from Prop Pally, but maybe shouldn't have like burst, but like consistent damage and enough pressure to like be able to kill somebody in a stun if they're low. You know, that, or because like I feel like having a class more durable than the rest, that means you have to have it like reduce its damage output, otherwise it's just a better version of a DPS, right? Let's say like you have a Brewmaster and a Windwalker and they both do the same damage and the same burst, and Brewmaster just takes less damage than the Windwalker. They're just a better Windwalker, you know? And the only way to really balance them is like, okay, well I guess you're gonna be tankier but like weaker damage wise, or like the way I think they should do it is just make them like as durable as a Windwalker, but they'd be able to do certain unique things to like help their allies and have some kind of like consistent pressure at the very least. Maybe not burst damage, but like consistency or something along those lines. Maybe some survivability tools, but yeah, it's just weird. Tanks are not tuned properly for PvP, and there's like multiple ways of how you can go about it. They just need to figure out like what they want tanks to be in PvP. Are you there to run flags and RBGs? Yes? Okay, shouldn't let them do arenas then. Do you want tanks to be able to do arenas? Okay, you gotta rethink of like the structure. Because the whole arena has been balanced around healers and 2 DPS in a 3v3. 2 damage dealers that can CC, healer that can CC. Where does the tank fit in this? It's weird. It just gets kind of awkward. Should tank be able to heal? Should it be a support class? Should they do damage? Should it be just as tanky or weaker or stronger than a DPS in terms of like survivability? Should they do as much damage or less damage than a DPS? And I feel like if they were to just standardize them so they're basically an alternative way to play a DPS, I'd be cool with it. Give me a main for 10-2. Right now, yo, 10-2. Demon Hunters and Rogues are looking insanely good. Besides that, I've seen a lot of Beastmaster Hunters over in PTR. You could give Hunter maybe a spin. I've seen Shamans do pretty well, like in hands in particular. They keep getting nerfed, but like they're not going to be in a bad spot whatsoever. Priests are looking really good with this. Apparently Mystery was looking pretty good for raids too. Unholy DK is looking kind of interesting. Druid's also pretty good. Like Boomkins and Restos have been getting a lot of play. Pharaoh's actually got a good tier set. Fury Warriors had some good numbers to it. Demonology Warlock is actually looking kind of good too. Pallies, Red Pallies are doing good in Mythic Plus, but from what I've seen, Holy Pally not that bad either. Hunters are not terrible either, like Beastmaster, like I said. Mages are pretty decent. You see them here and there. Augmentation is still pretty good. Preservation is looking pretty good too. There's not a lot of bad specs in the PTR. Blood DK looks really good. If you want to play tank, I think like Blood DK, Vengeance Demon Hunter, or Brewmaster is looking really good. Healers, I think Holy Pally is still fine. Rusted Druid, I see a lot of them in Disgrace specifically. Doesn't mean that other tanks or healers are going to be bad. But those are the ones that I see a lot of in like M+ at the very least. But if you want to play DPS, like Rogues are looking really good and Demon Hunters very good. BM Hunters are also really good. There's a lot of good choices, man. A lot of good choices. I don't want to like tell you what class you should play. I'm just telling you like, hey, what's good, and you can pick yourself. I'd never want to be that guy that tell you you gotta play this class right now, because like God forbid, man, if it's good now but then it gets nerfed during like last patches of the build, and now I feel responsible. Plus, I also never want to tell people what they should play. It's just play what you like. Like I always had that mentality: play what you enjoy. What do you like? What class specs for all the game modes in 10 too? Like the ones that I just mentioned are all looking pretty good. Yeah, let's go with that. I'm in a healer right now between Disc, Resto, Druid, and Rested Shaman. I haven't seen a lot of Rested Shamans, but they keep buffing their tier set. So I imagine maybe numerically it might be there. That being said, I feel like Disc Priest or Rested Druid might be a safer choice, but it's just a guess. It's a guess as any other, man. I'm just telling you, I'm not seeing a lot of Rested Shamans and Mythic Pluses for PTR. I'm seeing a lot of Restos. I'm seeing a lot of Disc Priests, like Rested Druids and Disc Priests. What are the new talents? Are these the new talents? These are the names of some of the hero talents. If you want to take a look at some of the new talents, they only have Boomkin set up. Or they have Keeper of the Grove set up, which is Resto and Boomkin. Resto's Druids and Boomkins are going to share these together. I like that for int and the stunts. Yeah, no, they got a lot of good utilities. Just numerically, people have been like memeing on them because they just don't scale super well. Like they've been the class that has had some of the lower healing numbers for like a good while this expansion. Just like it doesn't scale as well as everybody else. Like there's intellect scaling, master scaling, whatever, all that. It just is not that effective. Whereas the classes that get more gear, they've just been scaling super well. Yeah, Wrestler Shaman is just in a weird spot. I feel like if you like it a lot, you could probably make it work. But also, you know, I'd be upset if I told you, like, you know, play that, but also like play it, but consider the meta. You know. Consider what's popular right now. Which classes are hard to play? Disc Priest or Mist River? I'd say like Disc Priest to some degree if you have a hard time like managing the whole atonement. I feel like Disc Priest in raid for sure. Because like your setups with burst and healing stuff gotta be pinpoint accurate. But also I can see Mist River being a little more difficult just because it's not meta. You're gonna have to try a little bit harder to make that one work for you. Within Mythic Plus, within raids. But it's apparently looking really good for raids right now. I think like easier or harder, like in terms of picking up, I think Disc Priest has a more mechanical depth to it. Mist Rivers, I feel like don't have nearly as much, but like being able to set up a big healing window inside of Mythic Plus as everybody takes a lot of damage does take a lot more out of you than like Disc Priest setting up atonements. Because you always thinking about like you're pre-shielding, pre-setting up on your allies, and you're just, as long as you can do damage as allies are taking a lot of damage, they usually will be fine. So if you, when you get used to that pacing, I think that becomes safer of a pick. Whereas Mistweaver, I just kind of like got to make sure I bank up my resources, note when the damage is going to happen, start pre-healing, and hope that I land it as the damage goes out. And that way allies can be kept safe. And all I got really I got good defenses. I could cocoon somebody, but that's really about it, right? Whereas this place you just start popping shields and PS to targets, or drop a dome and everybody's mostly stabilized. But I think it really comes down to my experience with Disc. I feel like I had more experience with that than Mistweaver. Although I love Mistweaver. I feel like Disc is simple but hard to execute. It's simple, hard to execute. I agree with that part. Concept is easy to understand, so is our skills. If you get really good at like preempting the damage as Disc, or playing proactively rather than reactively, that's where disc just becomes easier in my opinion. Whereas Mistweaver, you can play somewhat reactively, but like sometimes I feel like it comes down to like timing. I just don't really have that great Mistweaver timing. Like no one wanted to go for my gift of the Emperor, right? The big AoE miss heal. Like if I can set it up properly and I can get a big heal as damage comes out, like it feels safer. Or if I know when to like set up a GG and just start like blasting. Yeah. It's just learning those patterns. I feel like as disc priest is a little bit easier to set up in my opinion. But also shields are really, really nice. Like being able to start shielding people on a moment's notice on a 1.5 minute cooldown with Rhapsody. It's really, really good. Is it Rhapsody? I feel like I said the talent, but now I'm like, is it Rhapsody or is it something else? I feel like it's Rhapsody. Or is it Rhapsody? I'm double checking myself. Is that talent that gives you like no cooldown on your shields? What I mean is everything goes into maybe like one or two things. The mind games of disc priest. The mini games of disc is fewer than someone like Rusty Shaman who has a lot of different synergies. Yeah. I will agree with you on that. Yes, I think disc priest does not have the easiest like setup combo, but like once you learn that setup, that's really all you use against everything. Yeah, with Restos and Mistweaver, just a lot of like little elements that play off of each other where you can like get a lot of value for your healing. Being able to learn those combos, for Restos particularly, it's a lot of combos for heals. That becomes very, very important. Although I always loved Rested Mastery. I thought like it was really good. Like your Riptides can just start topping people if they're super, super low. Once you get a disc, yeah, exactly. You learn the dungeon. That's a good way of putting it, actually. I think it's a fantastic way of putting it. So chat, I think we're done for the night. Now, I guess it was a question of like whether I do Duels tonight or not. I don't know. I am pretty exhausted. I've been exhausted for a good while. So I was gonna actually go and do another video on the deep dive we just took a look at. You know, go into a lot more details about like hero talents and everything. But yeah, very, very excited about the stuff we got going on, man. Very, very, very excited. This is so cool. I'm very, very happy with what they got going here, man. Very happy with what they got cooking. Very excited. This is so good. Man. God, I feel like a kid again. You know? Man, I kind of want to take a screenshot of this too. Just because it'll be easier for like Photoshop stuff. While I got it in front of me. But yeah, normally this is where we do duels, but BLIZZCON kind of took a lot of that out of me, or a lot of the energy that I had. Yeah. Is it playing? Oh, it is. Okay. Let's see if I can get a screenshot going once it has everything for talents. Perfect. Wow. So good. Cool. Yeah, I think I'm gonna be done for the night, man. I got a lot to do. Thank you all though for going by. I appreciate ya. We'll do duels next week, I think. It's an interesting time for anyone playing Warcraft things. Yeah, I feel like this definitely is an interesting time, man. I imagine like this new saga that they're doing and like the revamps and like alt friendliness and everything they're doing so far. I'm very, very excited, very happy to see what they've done with it. This might be actually a really insanely good time to like, as a new player getting into the game for the first time, you know, in a long, long while. Very, very excited to see what they've been able to do with it so far. And I cannot wait, man. I guess we'll know more stuff once the alpha hits, what they're doing with classes and everything. Thanks, Dali. The best. See success in future, man. Appreciate you, my guy. I mean, with Blizz like delivering a whole nother expansion and this many announcements, I got work cut out for me, man. I got work cut out for me for a while. So yeah, this is cool. This was exciting. I cannot wait to start changing out this background, man. I want to see if I can get like one from the War Within expansion. You know what I mean? Maybe like I really would like Hollowfall to be my background, because that place in particular, like I don't know what it is. It's just like a Gilneas Waycrash type of vibe it got going on while underground with like a big old crystal. Something about the place just sinks to me, man. It is so, so good. But yeah, boys, thanks so much for coming by. I appreciate ya. I'm gonna go get some video stuff done. No duels tonight. I'm most likely streaming. They're not gonna do BlizzCon stuff tomorrow, but I feel like I don't know if I'll stream tomorrow because we got 10-2 coming out this Tuesday, and I feel like maybe I should take tomorrow as a proper day off, and then take a Monday to work and stuff, and then basically get into high gear with Tuesday and everything. So, because I'll have to wake up super early, get stuff going. It's gonna be a lot. Yeah. Here we go. For only that in retail, the Italian. Oh, wait. But yeah, Crystal's incredible. I don't know what the ceiling was that high. They're making some big zones, man. They're trying to make it so you can drag and ride in all of them. So it's really cool. But yeah, chat, thank you so much. You guys are wonderful. I will update you guys tomorrow on Discord. Join the Discord if you haven't, if we'll be streaming Sunday or not. Sunday and Monday might just be like chill days for me, because then 10-2 we're gonna be full swing with content, constantly doing stuff. But yeah, and I gotta do like a full like, hey, here's a wrap up of all the class changes coming out in 10-2, because that's this Tuesday, and I gotta get ready for that as soon as possible. And I got a lot of things I gotta work on, man. There's a lot of little projects I want to be getting into. Oh man, completely forgot the 10-2 is coming out, man. I'm never sleeping again. I've been actually drinking coffee. I completely went cold turkey and coffee for the last few days because I just needed more energy. I've been chugging. I get more sleep when I drink coffee. So this is great. This is fantastic. But okay, I'm gonna stop complaining. You guys have a wonderful evening. Thanks so much for coming in and joining me. This was fun. This is fun. Maybe we'll do more reactions like this in the future. Just BlizzCon is like a unique thing. Yeah, Sunday, Monday, no idea if we're streaming. I'll let you guys know on Disc. Tuesday, we're definitely back in. I'm gonna have to get myself a proper day off at some point, one of these. But yeah, thank you all. You guys are wonderful, beautiful. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. And I'll catch you guys all in the next stream, whenever that's gonna happen. Yeah, join our Discord. Alrighty, boys. You guys have a good one. Peace.
Price, yeah. Oh, I should've known. It hits me like a tidal wave every time you say my name. It hits me like a tidal wave. It hits me like a tidal wave. A tidal wave. Tidal wave. On the shoreline, now you're leaving, but I know you got your reasons too. I didn't hear the sirens, I didn't want to see the warning signs, and now I pay the price, yeah. Oh, I should've known. It hits me like a tidal wave